The Connecticut countryside has a calming effect, yet nestled in the woods in the tiny corner of the state is a 1.5-mile strip of road that is the catalyst for chaos.
There's some argy-bargy going on there for sure.
Lime Rock Park is a landmark location for racing in the Northeast, and the drivers know when they come here,
things tend to get dirty.
They come ready to rumble. Oh, the front end has gone off that car. A year ago, the SunTrust Dallara took Wayne Taylor's men direct to victory lane in one of only 3 defeats for Ganassi in 2010. It's a track the mighty 01 is yet to win at, and remember, Pruitt and Rojas are recovering from their first defeat of the year. Action Express breaks that win streak. In GT, there are some local lads ready to keep that winning feeling. Turner Motorsport has 3 podiums in a row in 2011, and with home base not far away, look out. It's Grand Am at Lime Rock on Memorial Day weekend. Could it get any better? It's affectionately known as the Road Racing Centre of the East. Lime Rock Park has been hosting sports cars on Memorial Day weekend for so many decades. It's part of the culture in New England. Speed welcomes you to Round 5 of the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series. This is the Memorial Day Classic. Hi folks, Lee Diffie along with Speed sports car experts Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader, and so pleased you could be with us on this very special day as so many people have here at beautiful Lime Rock Park here in Connecticut. Well guys, we're already a third of the way through this championship season. In Daytona prototypes, it's almost been a one-way street. In GT, it's certainly a lot more wide open. Cal, you first, how have you seen the season to date?
Well, Lee, in Daytona prototype, certainly Ganassi continued to set a very high standard, but when we see a team execute the perfect races, we saw with Action Express at VIR, they can be beaten. Now, there's a couple other teams to look out for also. SunTrust Racing, they're the defending champions here at Lime Rock Park. Spirit of Daytona have had 2 poles this year, blazing speed, but both of those teams have made those little mistakes that have kept them out of victory lane. Dorsey, GT, a different story.
GT is completely wide open. There's 6 teams within 16 points. The top 2 drivers, Bill Oberlin and Paul Dallara, are going to be separated because Bill Oberlin has got some commitments coming forward. You look at really good teams. Stevenson Motorsport haven't capitalized. Best finished 7th. They're in 12 points. From here forward, GT's for grabs.
And as we said, only a third of the way through this season. Let's talk more specifically about what's been going on here at Lime Rock, and let's start with Brian Till.
Well, Lee, Ricky Taylor certainly likes Lime Rock Park. You guys were talking, it was just 1 year ago this weekend, Ricky Taylor took his first Rolex Sports Car Series Daytona prototype victory, and the battle for qualifying was just as intense as that race a year ago. The 01, Memo Rojas trying to claim the pole. He locks up the brakes. He'll have to start third. The last time the 01 on the pole, Salt Lake City last year. Then Paul Edwards takes a shot of it in the 90. He'll start on the front row for the 3rd time this season. They just missed the pole for Ricky Taylor. It'll be the first pole of 2011 for the number 10 SunTrust machine. Rounding out the top 5, David Donahue will roll off in 4th, and John Fogarty, the qualifying specialist in the 99 Red Dragon, they'll start 5th. For the last 3 races, they've been on the front row. They missed it a little bit here. For more in GT, let's go to Chris Neville.
Brian, and GT, we've seen great battles at the front all year long, and the theme has really been diversity. Last year, Mazda teams won 6 of the 12 rounds. This year, we've had 3 different makes win the first 4 rounds, and Mazda has been absent from that list. Last year, Mazda was dominant here. They finished in the top 4 spots. Can they turn their season around today? In qualifying, it was once again a mix of the makes. Bill Oberlin and Paul Donalana are going to start 3rd. They're hoping to leave today with the points lead they currently have. GM, they started on the front row in every race this year, and Robin Liddell chalks up Stevenson's 3rd pole of the season. The top 5 different manufacturers, all covered by 0.6 of a second. If today is anything like the races yesterday, you better stick around for the last lap.
I love Chris's turn of phrase there, mix of the makes. That is what Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series racing is all about. 3rd DP career pole for Ricky Taylor. Here is the race analysis for you. We're going for 2 3/4 hours flat out at this 1.5-mile track. This is going to be something else. The Subaru starting grid rolling across the top of your screen as we get ready for action on a day that started with severe thunderstorms this morning at 7:15. But now we've got beautiful sunshine to go racing in the Northeast on Memorial Day. Let's go!
Ricky Taylor to the inside. Look at Memo Rojas from 3rd on the grid. Paul Edwards squeezes him down into turn 1. Remember last year there was contact right here.
It was Rojas on the outside a year ago. He slots into 2nd very quickly, Dors.
Here we got some argy-bargy already in the back. We see the 9 car, the 2.
JC France involved there. They're the winners from the last round. Alex Popov is involved as well.
Oh, now there's dramas there for the 44 as well. The Magnus Porsche So a scrappy start to this one. Edwards has been relegated to 4th. David Donahue, is there in 4th. Edwards is 3rd. And it's the 21-year-old Ricky Taylor who got his first Daytona prototype victory here, and the defending GT champions. Emil Asentato is off course.
Now here's the problem. You said at the beginning, we had a huge thunderstorm this morning. This grass is really, really wet, and this racetrack you can get stuck very easily at.
Yeah, and this is a short lap. I mean, it's only 50 seconds for these Daytona prototypes to get their way around this race circuit. Look at this. Fogarty looking really racy on David Donahue right now. Very rarely do we see that Red Dragon qualifying down on the 3rd row of the grid.
John Pugh is tucked back there in the Crown Royal XR. Mike Shank forward. What happened here with JC France? Oh!
Looks like just a simple spin on cold tires just got out of control. And
Two-car got around there. JC was caught up in it. Not his fault, really. Nowhere to go.
What happened to Emil Asentato? Let's
car
find
off
out.
here and look up ahead. They're going to get bottlenecked in, I'm afraid.
Oh. There's contact there with John Potter in the 44 Magnus Racing car as they were trying to get around JC France, who was wounded there, trying to get his way back to pit lane.
Full course caution, and I'm sure it's because we have a stuck car in the swamp. There's Emil Asentato sitting behind the wheel of his Mazda. And like I said, it's very easy to get yourself stuck here.
And some radio transmission there from the Speed Source Mazda just describing about what went down. And I think if you work backwards, with that incident, there may have been contact between the 8 Starworks car and the sister Starworks car, the number 2 of Alex Popov. There may have been contact there between Mike Forrest and Alex Popov, which caused the 2 to go around, which then tagged JC France, and then everybody was scurrying.
And those are not decoys either. Those are real geese sitting there. You know what happens? We have a split start, and what went on there is after we had the Daytona prototype spin, those guys were trying to re-enter the racetrack, get back in the race when the GT guys came upon them, and it caused a bit of chaos.
Damage here to the 9. This is the car that won the last time out. VIR, JC France, Terry Borcella, and Joao Barbosa. Damage to the right side of that car. All right, as we're moving at a much slower pace, let's take a look at the Continental Tires. Key to the race, Cal. Short days, short laps, damage control. That's appropriate.
Yeah, I tell you, 5 hours from first practice to the green flag here today. A lot of pressure on the teams with this short day, one-day event. A short lap around 50 seconds means a green flag stop will cost you at least 1 lap to the rest of the field. And damage control, as we've already seen, easy to get into trouble around this place. And remember, there's another round of this championship just 5 days away to the green flag at the 6 hours of the Glen.
Here is the view from the beautiful BMW X5 pace car here at Lime Rock Park. We're up and running, but not for very long. We're going at a slower pace. Squeeze in a break, see you in a moment. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is presented on Speed by Rolex, a crown for every achievement. Brought to you in part by Burger King, home of the Whopper, and by Subaru, with the safety of symmetrical all-wheel drive standard on all vehicles. And that's just a couple of clips of the beautiful surrounds here in New England. Emil Asentato, co-champion for the GT class last year, is up and running again. This is the cause for this first full course caution. And as we work our way slowly back to speed, let's turn our attention now, Dorse, to the Burger King track map.
Lime Rock Park is only a mile and a half around. It's extremely fast. All right-hand corners except for one. Of course, it's called the left-hander. This is the highest average speed track, or one that we ever come to here. It's daunting without question. The uphill and downhill will get your attention.
Action on pit road. The 94 Turner Motorsport BMW is there. Paul Dall'Anna.
Billy Aublin qualified this car. They're really unhappy with the car in this morning's practice session. They used the qualifying session for Bill really to get a better read on it. Now, the rules state if you qualify, you have to start. So they've now got Paul Dall'Anna in. Remember, these guys currently lead the championship standings. Chris?
Calvin, while we were away, some of the prototypes teams decided to come to pit lane to take care of that mandatory pit stop they need to do in the first 45 minutes of the race. We saw the 60, the 99, the 90, and the 01 all come in. The only car that didn't take fuel was the Ganassi car. Tim Keen deciding not to take fuel. He just wanted to do a quick stop and go because he wanted to make sure that if the other cars didn't take fuel, he wasn't going to lose track position.
Yeah, I spoke to Timmy about 10 minutes before the off today, and he said if we get an early yellow, even lap 1, I will take it. You cannot afford to pit under green here. You will lose a lap with the shortness of this lap.
And Tim Keen, who is the manager for this car, this team, has had a very busy weekend because he was calling strategy for young Graham Rahal, who did so well at yesterday's Indy 500, finishing 3rd. So Timmy has been busy this weekend. We told you right at the top of the show how it's been pretty much a one-way street in Daytona Prototypes this year. Let's show you the reason why we said that. And there is a handsome 22-point advantage to Scott Pruitt and Memo Rojas, the defending series champions, over JC France, Joao Barbosa, Terry Borchello, the most recent winners. 5 points further back, the sister car from Action Express of Darren Lord, David Donahue, the two drivers who have done every single Daytona Prototype event in Rolex Series history. So that paints the picture for you there in the top class. In GT, as Dorsey mentioned, it is a lot more wide open with the top 6 combinations blanketed by just 16 points.
And important to know, even though so JC France, who's second in the points with Barbosa and Borchello, have that damage, they have kept him on the lead laps. I'm sure still got a lot of wounds on that race car, but he is out there on the lead lap still.
Whipping through our onboards here from one Mazda to the next, Dempsey to Speed Source, and it's a very big day for Patrick Dempsey. When we think about Lime Rock, Dorsey, you raced here for so many years, you did so much Skip Barber work up here, we think about the late Paul Newman. Well, now it's time for another Hollywood hero in Patrick Dempsey, and this is Patrick's very first time here at Lime Rock Park.
Well, it can be daunting because this racetrack is a bull ring, Dorsey, as you know. It is very demanding. And again, that comes into the one-day event. He doesn't have a lot of time to really get up to speed, get comfortable with the race circuit. It's wham, wham, wham. You're out there, you're suddenly in qualifying, you've got to get the job done. But he's really, you know, that learning curve is getting a lot less steep than it was for Patrick a couple of years ago. He's really a solid racer now and can, you know, tackle these tasks a lot more efficiently.
Looking at the back of the BMW pace car, that's the downhill, and that doesn't really give justice to how steep that gradient is as you come off the top of that mountain and head down.
Lights are off, track will be clear, we're going racing. It's Ricky Taylor at the head of the field.
Ready, green.
That's the voice of Simon Hodgson, team manager for Wayne Taylor's SunTrust organization. Look at the Ganassi car, pops out of line real quick.
Well, that's the great thing. He's still got a really good track position, even though he and Paul Edwards right behind him have made that mandatory pit stop. So that really puts them in much stronger position strategy-wise. Look at Edwards to the inside. Woo! That was close.
This place is a bull ring, and I tell you, that's what you got to do to make passes here. There's not any really good place to do it, but into turn one, so you got to stick your nose in sometimes where it doesn't belong.
And it's understandable while Paul Edwards is pushing so hard. He's been victorious here before in GT competition, and the Spirit of Daytona team really feel they could be in victory lane here today at this track.
This is a complete momentum track. You don't want to get yourself in a position where you get held up, and that's right here is the most important place, not to go side by side with cars on that downhill, because this is your only straightaway, guys, right here.
And traffic will be a big factor here today in how these Daytona prototypes deal with the slower GT machines, but Edwards has GT experience, and that's always an advantage when you're a driver stepping up to the next category. You know the habits and the traits and the speed potential of the GT cars you're going around.
You know, this is a moving chess game. You look at those slower cars, and you have to analyze in your mind, where am I going to catch that car? And if you're going to catch it in an inopportune place on the racetrack, you back out of it then so that it doesn't happen. You don't get trapped.
It is a Chevrolet-powered Dallara leading a Porsche-powered Riley, a BMW-powered Riley, and then a one-off. That car number 90 is a Chevrolet-powered Coyote, the only one of its kind. And there's the Red Dragon, Chevrolet-powered Riley, Ford-powered Dallara. There's a great mix in Daytona prototypes.
This is not only the most physical racetrack on the driver, but also on the suspensions here because of that uphill load and the downhill load. You throw that car down that hill and it compresses at the bottom. It goes through its full range of motion and comes up against the bump stops. It's very brutal.
John Pugh down to the inside using all of the curve there, trying to get inside of Mike Forrest. He's going to lean on him a little bit. This is where Rojas and Fogarty got together at the exit.
Clear.
Got a spotter up there. Just trying to talk these guys around. It's really hard to feel where the other car is around you in these tight quarters. It's a great asset to have. Look at this, battle for second. Edwards putting the pressure on.
That's a brake zone for the uphill, and that's it's a good place for overtaking, but it's very rough down there.
Paul Edwards is high on momentum here, isn't he? He's feeling racy. He wants to take the fight to that Ganassi car, looking for an inside option.
Well, he was only a 10th off a pole, and if Paul Edwards had got that pole, it would have been the third consecutive pole position for this Coyote chassis. So it is now proven it can really be fast on any type of racetrack, and it is going to be a threat for victory every round of this championship.
So it's Ricky Taylor, David Donahue, Memo Rojas, Paul Edwards, John Fogarty, top 5. Henri Richard in the Office Depot Dallara is up into 6th. Then John Pugh, Mike Forrest, JC France in 9th. And then the best of the GT cars, as Boris said, he leads the way over Gunter Shaldak and Robin Liddell.
I'll tell you what, Ricky Taylor is flying. He is over a second faster than the rest of the DP field on that last lap.
Ricky put a lot of laps here as he was taught here at Skip Barber Racing School. You see Boris said in the Corvette right there, leading in GT, just going out of range of these second and third place cars. There we go.
Well, this cool TV Camaro, the orange mobile there sitting in second in the hands of Gunter Shaldak, has been very impressive this year. Gunter and Ollie Gavin, a new partnership. Leighton Reese is, of course, the team boss and team owner. And they've been putting together some very nice results, including 2 weeks ago at VIR, that sees them very well placed in the championship.
Yeah, 2 consecutive runner-up positions. They want one better, and Leighton is just one of those bulldogs in the paddock. He is going to give it whatever it takes to get this team on the top step of that podium. But Gunter Shaldak has done a tremendous job. We expect a lot from Ollie Gavin with his experience. He's certainly performing, but Gunter is stepping up to the mark as well.
If you're a GM fan, you should be happy. You've got the top 4 positions at the moment in GT, and they're looking good in Daytona prototypes as well. They've been racing here for over 50 years at Lime Rock Park. They were some of the more memorable modern moments in Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series competition. The names who've raced here are just some of the who's who of motorsport, that's for sure. And even our own Dorsey Schrader and Calvin Fish have experienced victory here at Lime Rock Park. Some memorable moments for them. GT, we're going to focus our attention on right now. Boris said leads the way in the Marsh Racing Whelen Corvette. Let's have a look at the championship points. Remember, we're a third of the way through the championship already. Who is on top? It is the number 94 Turner Motorsport BMW with a 13-point advantage.
Yeah, they've been very strong this year. Couple of wins, but Bill Oberlin has a few clashes with his ALMS schedule this year, so he's going to be missing him from a few of these events. They're still working through who they're going to replace him with, but I'm sure they'll come up with the top gun to go in there, and the rest of the paddock may breathe a sigh of relief. That may close that gap a little bit, but Paul Dallalana, what a job he has done this year to lead the championship with Bill.
Chevy Corvette leads Chevy Camaro, and that continues. Bill Lester, who of course won at the most recent round in VIR, is a little further back, but not that far back. He's running 4th behind Robin Liddell. Andrew Davis is the best of the Porsches in the 59 Brumos machine, and the best of the Mazdas is Sylvain Tremblay, 1 position further back. But it's the GM boys strong up front, Dorse.
It is indeed. And you know, one of the things on this racetrack, because of the short lap, is that you can't wander too far back in the pack as the prototypes start lapping through these GT cars. You want to be in touch with everybody, but I mean, right now you can breathe the thing a little bit. This is a tough racetrack. Watch for left tire damage here, because of this is an oval, as close to an oval as what these guys ever run. All right-hand corners, and the 2 hardest ones, the uphill and downhill, heavy loading on that left front, left rear.
Let's talk more about the car out in front in GT, and Brian Till has more.
Right now, Lee, Boris said, giving the 31 a real good run. Eric Kerr and his teammate Eric, this car seems to have really started to come on towards the end of last year, but this year, especially the last round, it showed what it can do. When you come to a racetrack like Lime Rock, though, and you have such a little practice time, how is it that you arrive at a setup?
Well, I mean, first off, Brian, last year at the end of the year, I mean, we really got that car working. We had a couple poles at the end of the year, and last year was a development year for us. We learned a lot. We, new to the series, really trying to get things going, and we come into this year, we got a brand new car. We're working hard at it. We had off to a kind of a rough start, but we had a good finish in VIR. We qualified 2nd there. We finished 6th, and so coming to Lime Rock Park, this is home place for me. And actually, Boris said's from Connecticut. I don't know how many people know that, but I'm from Massachusetts. He's from Connecticut, and I grew up racing here, and I've done thousands of laps here, and I think just having Whelen Engineering and Teddy Marsh here, we're all local. We've all done 1 million laps here, from Busch cars to SCCA to everything, and I think just the experience of knowing what to do with a car in a short period of time, I mean, it's kind of an advantage for us outside just knowing the track from a driving standpoint. So we're pretty excited, and we got a lot of Whelen Engineering fans here, and people from the plant, and Sonny Whelan's up on the hill, and we're looking for a good finish. We need a good finish. We got Boris doing a good job.
Boer's definitely doing a good job in the vet right now, Lee.
What has happened to the 01 Ganassi BMW? Chris is there. Tell us more, mate.
Oh, Lee, lots of damage to our points leaders. We got the splitter completely damaged. They're going to have to do a new splitter, new bodywork. I'm looking at the suspension on the left front corner, and suspension, oh no, there's definitely some suspension damage here. This just isn't going to be a splitter. A splitter might take 3 or 4 minutes to change. That would be 3 or 4 laps at this racetrack, but with the suspension damage, it's going to take a lot longer. So our points leaders, they didn't win at VIR. They came in second. Well, today's going to be a real tough day for them.
Similar to last year, guys. This is a catastrophe for this crew.
Let's
Take
have a look at the replay, Dorsey.
Oh, this is the uphill.
Oh.
So it's already happened, I think.
Was it when he was trying to rejoin, or is it about to happen here?
No, I think it happened in the brake zone down before the uphill, to be honest. We'll see.
This is on board with David Donahue. Rojas, oh, that's where he did it.
Oh, my goodness.
That's
That is threading a needle that you don't need to be doing in the first hour of this race.
Double contact, one on the left and one on the right there. Is this history repeating itself? It was major front end damage 12 months ago here at Lime Rock. The very first appearance for Daytona Prototypes when Rojas and John Fogarty got together on the opening lap, and it just tore the front end off that 01 BMW.
Well, that's what I was talking about. That brake zone for the uphill is really rough. And what happened there, Memo was to the far left-hand side. He dropped his wheels off into the ditch. There's a big hump there. You saw the car come off the ground.
And they were going 3 wide there, and you'd have to think that the car in the middle was probably looking for the guy on the inside and didn't see Memo going to the left. We'll try and get another replay on that, see if we can read into it a little bit better. But this happened first lap last year. Was Fogarty to the inside.
Tries to slide back into that 3rd spot with the red dragon. Will they trade paint there coming off the 2? They did.
Oh, the front end has gone off that car.
For first lap, no matter what, it's all give and take on a small track like this. You don't drive somebody off.
John had the inside line. If I had been Memo, I probably would have backed out. We respect those guys. We don't want them to win, but you know, we don't want to win this way.
It was big tension here 12 months ago and big tension in the Ganassi camp right now. However, that looked like an unforced error from Memo Rojas. We was trying to go around the outside. There was a GT car in the middle and just not enough track space. It was a little difficult to tell because it was only from one onboard camera view that we got.
But that's the bull ring. That's the patience you need here. You didn't need to go 3 wide this early in the thing. You could have waited, you know, and gone 2 wide there or passed in the straightaway. Make all your passes down the straightaway here, boys. It's a lot easier than trying to do it that way, man.
You just get stacked up with the GT cars, and they've got, you know, this part of this racetrack at twists and turns, and you can't see both sides of the race car. The guy in the middle there is trying to read the traffic behind him. He tries to get out of the way and then pinch Memo to the left, I'm assuming.
Let's get down to the Ganassi camp, Chris.
Well, the Ganassi group, they're fitting the new splitter on the car. It looks like they're hopefully going to be out here in just a couple minutes. Scott Pruitt's been trying to take a look at our images, but you haven't seen a replay yet. What did Memo say? What happened?
Haven't heard a word from Memo yet, so I don't know. Don't know what took place. It's just disheartening. I mean, we just want to come here and just run hard, stay out of trouble. Lime Rock hasn't been good for us for sure, so I don't. The guys are hard at it. The Ganassi boys will get this car turned around. We'll get back out there and do what we have to do, and you know, get on to the next one.
All right, Scott.
There you have it. Views from the only 3-time Daytona Prototype Championship. Dorsey, some pretty severe rubber work on the side of the 01
Yeah,
there.
no doubt about it. You know, I go back to this at Lime Rock all the time. Watch how tight this racetrack is. It's called No Name Straightaway, but it's not a straightaway. Look, it's a hard right. Now you're going to the left. Here, took them hard left. You just saw.
Yeah.
Then we'll get pushed over at the top of the curve.
Well, Andrew Davis was the man in the middle there, and he probably saw David Donahue coming to his right, and looked like Memo had a run and just committed to the outside lane.
Here's the deal: 2 hour and 45-minute race. You got to make these decisions at Lime Rock. Every lap, you got to pass somebody or not pass somebody. It's your discretion, you know, where to put the car in harm's way. And this early in the race, you wouldn't want to do that.
Let's not lose sight of the fact, Cal, that this young man has already amassed nearly an 11-second lead over the field.
He is absolutely flying. He is very comfortable here last year, and he sits on the pole for today's race, and he leads.
There's a man who's done 2 Formula 1 Grand Prix at Monaco on this very special motorsport weekend, Jan Magnussen. He'll be in the car in a moment. Tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Speed, it is time again for NASCAR Race Hub. And of course, they'll be talking a lot. They'll be recapping the action from One of the most exciting finishes as well. Of course, the Coca-Cola 600 last night. All the latest news from the world of NASCAR. That is the NASCAR Race Hub here on Speed, 7 p.m. tonight. That was a dramatic finish. Did you see that, boys? I know it was late last night, but it was crazy.
It was a wild day of racing yesterday with Monaco, then the Indy 500. Who would have predicted that day? And capped off last night, of course, and we've seen some action here today on Memorial Day. It's great stuff. Great weekend of racing.
Watching a great battle here for second place. Unfortunately, as Ricky Taylor set sail and way out of the frame of this picture, but that is a good hard-fought second place battle.
David Donohue's at the head of this train. Car 5 is Donohue. Then you've got Paul Edwards for Spirit of Daytona in that Chevy-powered Coyote, and then the Red Dragon, John Fogarty for Bob Stallings' Gainsco Auto Insurance team. The two-time Daytona prototype champion. They're looking for something to get something back. They got bounced out of the top 10 at VIR. Heavy contact between Antonio Garcia and Alex Gurney, so they want one back.
Now remember, the two leaders have not made their mandatory pit stop yet. That has to be done before the 45-minute mark. So Ricky Taylor released comfortably and David Donohue both have to make a pit stop within the next 18 minutes.
Chris?
Well, the Ganassi Telmex machine back out on the racetrack. But Tim, you guys are 8 laps down. What's the plan from here?
Well, the plan is we're going to bring Memo in as soon as he gets his 30 minutes in, put Scott in to ensure he gets his 30 minutes in case there's any problem with the car. If the car seems to be running okay, Brett will probably run just in case anybody else has trouble and try and get as most points as we can. It's pretty disappointing because we were just talking to him on the radio about being patient and lots of traffic, and obviously he didn't feel like doing that, so we'll have to talk about that again.
Well, we'll be back on the racetrack in 6 days.
Well, I think you can tell from that tone, Timmy.
Look at this, boys. Look at this.
Oh,
the
double
99
pass there.
Fogarty down on the curb, did a good job of holding it down.
David went from second to fourth there. Traffic may have been a factor for David Donohue. Look at Edwards there. Try to deal with that GT traffic. That's the Brumos machine again.
Andrew Davis is saying, no, not again. I've had enough.
This is what I'm talking about. This is typical Lime Rock right here, where you have to make these decisions when you come through these other cars, and you can throw it all away. And that's what Timmy's so mad about that.
You've got to be patient. It's like a basketball game. You've got to keep hanging around for that fourth quarter, and they recognize that this is a difficult racetrack. Last year, they told me this is a damage control race in terms of our championship position. Same scenario this year, and they're letting everyone back in the game.
Nothing's changed in GT while we're away. Boris Stead still leads. Gunter Schaldak, Robin Liddell, Bill Lester. The top 4, Andrew Davis is in 5th, and Sylvain Tremblay. And look at John Fogarty. He's got the eyes on. He's back in the race. They'll all have been told on the radio what happened to the 01, and they know that they've been given a wonderful opportunity here to get one back on the Ganassi, the championship-leading Ganassi Telmex team. And it could be a big points haul for one in particular.
You know, that really does get your adrenaline going when they tell you that the guy that's had such a big lead is all of a sudden out of the point situation. You get the bit on the teeth that way then.
I'll tell you what, the 99 car is running pretty well here in race trim. I spoke to Carl Brannon after qualifying. He said, we are lost. We intended to test after VIR, but the amount of damage that we had to our Red Dragon meant that we couldn't conduct that test over in Texas. He said, we really need some track time to try and sort out and get this car working on these new Continental tires. So good stuff that they're up to 3rd and holding a strong race pace right now.
57 is Robin Liddell. The 07 is Gunter Schaldak. So Robin has got that position away from the 07. 2 Chevy Camaros going hard at it, 2 rival teams, and here comes Edwards, 2nd overall. He's going to have to weave his way by this GT traffic fairly effectively, and he does.
Of course, Edwards came out of that same type of car, in fact, that very car, as they're seeing the 07 was his ride last year, so he fully is aware of these guys are racing really hard with each other, too.
I don't know why they call that straightaway down the backside.
Yeah, it's not.
There's anything but there's several apexes down the straightaway.
They ran out of names or something.
Fogarty's trying to go through and attach himself to the back there of Paul Edwards so they can squeeze through on Robin Liddell. Robin does a great job, gives them room. Fogarty did lose a little bit of ground though, maybe 2 or 3 car lengths to Paul Edwards. Meanwhile, up front, what's Ricky Taylor's lead? It is massive, 17.7 seconds. And on a short track, on a 1.5 mile track, that is considerable.
Let me tell you something. if it could happen, I'm not saying he can do it, but if he could lap his way through and get a lap up on this field, and I've done that here, I've done one race like that would be awesome to had that one lap.
Well, I think what they're going to do, because they didn't take the opportunity to pit under that yellow, they're going to run him right up to that 45-minute mark, because if we continue to see a lot of green flag racing, even with the reduced fuel cell that was implemented at the last round, 4 gallons less in these Daytona prototypes, now at 20 instead of 24, these teams are still saying they can make it about an hour. So if he can run right up to that 45-minute mark, if it stays green, they may be able to do it on a 2-stop. It's going to be tough, though.
If it goes green, we need to have our boys in the pits look at those left side tires, because I'm really worried about that myself. I mean, this is a tire-eating left side track.
If you're wondering what that shot was there, our director Billy McCoy was showing you exactly what 17.7 seconds looked like to show you that massive margin between first and second that's now grown to 19 seconds. The 0-1 is back in.
Well, Pruitt will probably jump in here at 31.5 minutes now a lap. So there's a rule in place to get championship points. You have to do 30 minutes for each driver. And there you see, Pruitt's going to jump in. They'll do 30 minutes. Chris?
Well, it's been a tough year for the Gainesco crew, but Alex, when we talk about this team, like the last couple races, we've seen some speed out of them, but you guys had a broken sway bar at Barber, and then you got pushed off the racetrack at VIR, so those results might not really be indicative of the speed out of the 99.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even sure if we have the speed yet. You know, we've been all over the map so far today, but we tried something pretty radical before the race, and it seems to be working. John's running really well, and so we're excited position where we're at right now.
With the Ganassi crew essentially out of this race, does that kind of raise the bar for you guys and say, hey, we really got to fight hard and get the W?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. You know, they've had an awfully good run of good luck, so you know, maybe that'll bring the points situation a little closer. We're not too unhappy about it.
Well, I talked to Alex earlier today about the contact between he and Antonio Garcia at VIR, and he said, you know what? We haven't spoken about it. We might have to just take care of it on the racetrack.
And it really affected the team because they were hoping to test at Texas Motor Speedway after VIR between then and now, and there was substantial damage on the 99 Red Dragon that prevented them from going to that test. So it was more than just being knocked out of a top 10 position, more than just not finishing where they would like to. It had a greater impact.
Well, racing is all about great rivalries, and I think we're starting to see one between the 90 and the 99. So this is really good stuff for Fogarty right behind Edwards.
22 seconds now, the lead margin. Ricky Taylor continues to stretch his legs over that 90-99 duel, and Donahue still well placed in fourth. Yeah, it's not a bad equation. That is at Grand Am and Speed here on Memorial Day at Lime Rock Park. It is a great weekend. The weather has come our way on this very special day where from all of us here at Speed, we thank those who do so much for us to enjoy such a wonderful life and enjoy things like motorsport. So for all of those in the armed forces who are currently serving, who have served, for those who made the ultimate sacrifice, this is your day, the day that we remember you, and we thank you so much. We're back to racing, and there's trouble at Lime Rock for the 07 for Gunter Schaldak. This is the car that's second in the GT Championship.
Yeah, back in the chicane again down there, where we have so much trouble with that little area of the racetrack.
One of the other GT cars get really loose there, and again, we've got 38 minutes almost on these tires now, so the grip level is not going to be what it was when they were fresh, and start leaning on the gas pedal a little hard coming through there, Dorsey.
Yeah, you come off that no-name straightaway with a lot of speed, you're really hard on the brakes, and that they hate calling it a chicane, but that series of corners to keep you from flying up the uphill.
Don't see any damage there, so it looked like it could have been just a harmless spin, or maybe he was involved with some traffic.
Feel good. Just get your mind together. You got a CP -1.
It's really easy to do that, Calvin. You turn into that corner, and if you hit that curb, it jumps the car up in the air, and I think that's what we saw when we were right on board the Mazda when it took off straight on him.
Now, these Camaros have had some weight added to them since the last round when they had the win with the 88 Autohouse machine. 26 pounds added, but we believe there may be up to 50 added over the course of these next 2 weekends, including the next round at Watkins Glen. We're waiting to see if there's going to be a tech bulletin on that. And all of the time, they're just trying to equalize the playing field for the various marques and manufacturers.
There is the GT leader. We've been watching second place. That's Boris Said, the Wayland Corvette, leading not by a great lot over those other two.
He's got a handy buffer of 6.5 seconds over Robin Liddell, and Andrew Davis has been elevated to third place. We're back at the section of the track where Schaldak had his issues. Let's show you a replay of what happened to the 07. You've got to look right up
Way
front.
Up the top of the hill, turning in there. He's going through with too much speed, and he just rotates right over.
I think that was maybe too much entry speed. It was almost like it was coming around on an entry rather than power down, but hard to say from that distance.
It's a rough transition off the straightaway up that hill right there. I mean, like I said, the brake zone's a little bit bumpy in its own right.
His second place, Robin Liddell for Stevenson Motorsports. Behind him, the 01, the Telmex BMW Riley for Chip Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates. If you've just turned on, yes, I know that you know they're the championship leaders. They're a three-time winner already this season. However, drama for them with heavy damage on the front end of that car. They've lost 8 laps and they're playing catch-up. It will be a big points turnaround for whoever wins this race. Here's third place in GT. It's Andrew Davis, former teammate of the man he's chasing, Robin Liddell at Stevenson Motorsports. First season back in GT for Brumos Racing.
We talk about how these teams prepare for an event. Would you believe that Brumos Racing at a test at Savannah earlier this year did a one-day mock of the timeline here at Lime Rock Park in terms of how much time between the various practice sessions, and really allowed the mechanics just that amount of time before the car to be back on track, and it's paying off today. They're running really well.
Looking at Ricky Taylor as he leads handily. He's still running lap times of 51.50s, which is pretty good. His best lap of this race is a 50.4, so he was really fast.
Yeah, he's 4/10 faster than the next fastest guys. Edwards Pruitt just dipped into the 50s as well. So Ricky Taylor has come alive. It was a quiet start to this year, but last round at VIR, the opening lap in the wet, that made a statement. He just took off from the rest of the field in really tough conditions. Pole position this morning, and another dominant run here in the race today. He's back.
And he must pit within the next 4 minutes for that mandatory pit stop. And that's exactly what his team manager Simon Hodgson is saying. We're almost at the 45-minute mark. You have to come in and pit. It's part of Grand Am regulations. Let's go to the SunTrust camp now with Chris Neville.
Well, his father, Wayne Taylor, always looking concerned about his son on the racetrack and the team up front. Wayne, right now, Ricky's got a commanding lead, over 20 seconds out there. We talked earlier about being fast and also putting up good results. Only one podium this year. What's it going to take for the SunTrust crew to put up better results?
Well, we have to keep doing what we're doing at the moment. You know, we got the pole, the guys, you know, the guys really rebound with this car, and we've come out here and put on the pole, and Ricky's leading. You know, it's still a long way to go. Everybody's just got to remain focused, and we're going to put Max in and see if we can keep it to the end.
You're one of the few teams that didn't come in and do that stop early on, so you've got to come in and do that mandatory stop really soon. Going to give up a lot of track position there. Was that a bad call, or do you think it's going to be the right call in the end?
No, I don't think so. These guys sitting behind me had come up with a race strategy anyway, and that was never an issue at that point in the track. We just wanted to go for track position and get Ricky out front.
Well, they've definitely got the speed today. Let's see if they can get a win.
I think the key is we talk about the shortness of the lap. The only way you can stay on the same lap is if you're leading.
Yeah.
And you need a margin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyone who's behind a leader in pits, you're going to go down a lap. They did this last year. Oh, a little bit of lock up there in the chicane area for Ricky. Getting the tires again. There's a little bit of their sweet spot, as we call it. The grip level has gone down a little bit, but they've hung on really well. Good consistent times here today on a tough racetrack.
And I'm sure he's pushing really hard, knowing he's coming in this lap probably to get as much gain on everyone as he can. Let's see what happens here.
Squeezed up the inside of the 9. He's going to stay out, is he? Yeah, he's going to stay for one more lap. He's got 2.5 minutes to play with, so he's going to stretch it right to the very end.
Probably do 2 more, but then that's cutting it real tight. You don't want to catch a yellow and run afoul of that rule. You got to hit pit lane by that 45-minute mark.
And you know, looking at all the cars in front of him, the GT car battles that he's got to drive through, it might have been better to pit that last run and avoid all that.
Yeah, that's a good point, but I think the other thing they're factoring indoors, so if you pit earlier, you got to stretch that fuel a little bit further if you're going to try and do it on one stop. So there's a lot of calculations that the teams are really dealing with, but I agree with you. Big mass of traffic, just pull him off the racetrack and don't have to deal with it.
Tell us more about the 31, Brian. They're in.
Boris Ed brings Teddy Marsh's Corvette in. Wheelan Engineering on the side. It'll be 4 Continental tires, a load of Sunoco fuel. Boris Ed has won at this racetrack before in Trans Am, and you heard Eric Curran say he's got over 24 victories here, so a lot of experience. Even though practice time cut short because of the weather today, they've got a good setup on this Corvette, and it has been absolutely flying as the 10 comes to pit road. Chris?
Well, Ricky Taylor, he's got a nice big lead. He's going to need it because he's going to take a while here on pit lane. They're going to do a full tank of Sunoco fuel for Continental tires, and Max the Axe Angelelli going to get behind the wheel. Most of these Daytona prototype teams think that they can do this with just 2 stops for fuel today, but the big question is, can the tires go those 2 entire stints? Most teams were thinking that they might have to come in for a 3rd stop just for tires, and a lot of those teams saying, do you use left side tires or do you do 4 tires? But it could come on this neutral team, right?
Winner last time out, the 88, the Autosports Camaro in. Bill Lester out. Jordan Taylor going in. Lester had a great run running in the top 5, but over these last 10 laps or so, it seems like they kind of lost the handle on this Camaro. We'll see if 4 fresh Continental tires will help Jordan Taylor as they throw it off the jacks, and he's out.
You know, I didn't see any real tire degradation. I didn't see any real problems.
No, looking at the lap times, Dorsey, they've really done a great job here. They're hanging on by about a second from when they first started in the fastest rate lap. So I don't think tires here today is going to be a factor. I think it's going to come down to fuel ultimately.
Climb aboard the 69 Speed Source Mazda once again. Emil Asentato still behind the wheel. He's chasing the class leader, the championship leader at the moment. Paul Dall'Anna in that 94 BMW for Turner Motorsport. Big local race and a big lockup from Dall'Anna.
That could be a square right front tire now.
Yeah, he released the brake just in time to get it turned. When that's locked up, you aren't going to be turning the race car, that's for certain. And got it released, but he's feeling the pressure there from Emil. Maybe just looked in his rearview mirror a little bit, missed his braking point. That's all it takes.
31 Marsh Racing Corvette. We just saw the stop with Brian. It's working its way back up to speed pretty good. Paul Edwards inherits the overall race lead after Ricky Taylor came in for the driver change and full service stop at Wayne Taylor's SunTrust Racing. So it's Edwards, Fogarty. We'll see where the 10 slots back in. How effective was that team? We'll tell you on the other side of this.
BMW's ultimate driving machine isn't just born from a computer or a design studio, but from BMW's racing heritage. Why is this so important to BMW?
Well, Chris, BMW's had an awful lot of success on the racetrack, as you know. We've learned a lot, and we wanted to take those parts and translate them to our customers and give them an opportunity to increase the performance of their vehicle. This car we brought to the track today, we have our sport suspension kit, which lowers the car by 25 millimeters. The spring stiffness increases by 48%. On the back of the vehicle, we have a carbon fiber spoiler, which adds downforce to the rear of the vehicle. And then you'll see on the front of the car, we have a carbon fiber diffuser and carbon fiber mirror caps. On the inside of the car, we have our BMW Sport steering wheel, which features LED shift lights and a G meter, the short shift kit, and we have a bunch of carbon fiber interior accents as well. And what's great about all these parts is they can be purchased through your BMW dealer. They're fully covered by our warranty, and they're designed and tested by our race teams and engineers. And we truly have a great portfolio of parts for them to add to their ultimate driving experience.
And it's been a massive year for BMW, leading both championships, Daytona Prototype and GT. Hey, a quick reminder, coverage of NASCAR on Speed, because next weekend, NASCAR on Speed thunders into Kansas. Tune in as Cup and Truck Stars take center stage in America's heartland. That's coverage from Kansas beginning at 1:30 Eastern, live on Speed. We welcome you back. You're watching Sports Cars on Speed. This is Grand Am, the Rolex Sports Car Series, the Memorial Day Classic. And up front is car number 90, Paul Edwards, a former GT winner at this track, a former GT champion. He's got a 4-second lead over John Fogarty, and Max Angelelli is third. There's drama for one of the leading GT teams as well. Tell us more, Chris.
Yeah, Lee, this is the second time we've seen the 70 car come to pit lane. Sylvain Tremblay initially got out. Jonathan Bomarito got back behind the wheel, and now Jonathan brought it back to pit lane. The car was smoking heavily off the left front corner. Sil, what's wrong with the Mazda?
We think we've got some type of damper problem. Obviously, our Castrol Edge car was running good. We had the Mazda running in the top 5, which was the plan. This really puts a stick in our spokes, as they say. We got the best crew on pit lane. They'll look at it. Matt Martin and David Haskell and Mark Deschette will figure it out, and we'll get back out there.
If it is all the oil leaking out of that left front shock, do you change the shock, or you just run the rest of the race with no oil in it?
Not here. Maybe someplace out. That side here, no. We're going to put a damper on it.
Well, a lot of these Mazda teams, they were hoping to come back and have some success this weekend. Obviously, Sylvain Tremblay's group pretty dejected with the start of their Monday.
That's what I was talking about, guys, here at Lime Rock. An extreme load on the left front corner. When you slam it up the uphill, when you go down that downhill, it compresses and it's blowing the seal out. It holds about, a pint of fluid in oil, and of course that's now dumping on the brake rotor. You cannot run here with no shock.
Not on that side, as he said. You're saying the damage is caused because of the load. I certainly agree with that. But if the damage was something else and it was on the right side, you probably could get away with it because you're just loading the left side all the time. But on that left side around here, the seal set there is no way to be right with that.
You've got one left-hander on the infield here, and it's the lowest speed corner on the course. But the corners on the uphill and downhill, these right-handers, man, you pummel that suspension.
Look at Edwards here. He's struggling to get around Terry Borscheller, who's gone down a few laps. Those teams have pitted again, and Terry's taken over from JC France, and those green flag stop just cost you laps, and they don't want to go down another one.
You saw the 31 Whelan Marsh Corvette pin earlier. That's why the 57 Robin Liddell has inherited the race lead. This car here, Andrew Davis in the 59 Brumos Porsche, is second, and James Gouet is third. It was a memorable time for this organisation some 20 years ago here at Lime Rock Park, where they debuted in the then IMSA Super Cup Championship. They didn't win on that particular day here at Lime Rock, but it began a successful championship season with Hurley Haywood and Peter Gregg. We go back to the highest placed Mazda in the field, and it's James Gouet for the JG Sport Dempsey Racing organisation. And interestingly enough, his co-driver has never been here. 2 of the 4 Dempsey drivers have not been here. So it's going to be very interesting times ahead. We know that Patrick Dempsey started in the 40 car, in the sister car. He's had his run. But a little later on, it's going to be very interesting for young Dane Cameron. He said, I've never even been here as a spectator, let alone driven around the place, so I'm coming to grips with it every single lap.
You know, as a short track, you would assume with only 7 corners, it wouldn't be much to learn. But that, let me tell you, the finesse around here, the little quirks about Lime Rock Park do, in fact, take a long time to learn. What you can get away with, what you cannot. It takes a long time to teach people all this stuff.
The good news, however, is a short lap. So in 10 minutes, you get a bunch of laps. You know? So it's like, kind of keep repeating it. It's not like a rally.
There's the 88 Auto House Camaro, piloted by Bill Lester and Jordan Taylor. And they rolled the dice a little bit on strategy at VIR, but that's what you got to do, and it paid off for them beautifully. Both drivers getting their first Rolex Series GT victories, and Brian standing by with Bill Lester.
That's right, Lee. Bob Curlin's team played all the cards right at VIR, and Bill Lester, you and Jordan Taylor walked away with your first victory. Some incredibly difficult conditions. Just how special was that?
Oh, it was tremendous. I mean, I don't think anybody assumed that we'd be on the podium, let alone jump through all the way up to first. And that was tremendous. These guys deserve it. I knew when I joined this team at the beginning of the year we had the potential to do it, so it's good to be able to justify it. And here, all we're doing is slip sliding in the heat. I mean, we might as well take our early practice session this morning and threw it away, because everything here is completely different. But we got the closer, Jordan Taylor, so we'll be okay.
I was going to ask you, you brought a lot of momentum into Lime Rock Park. The conditions are changing. Looked like you had a good car in the early going, running in the top 5, but it started to drop back. Is that a condition of the heat, as you just mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. The car started to lose grip, both in the front and the rear. I was pushing in the center and swapping ends coming off. So just to bring it home to Jordan, I think was an accomplishment. So I'm happy for that, and we'll just get all we can get.
Bob Curlin said, hang around, guys. You'll see us on the podium again today, we hope.
Car's tough. It's running really well. Jordan Taylor sat on the pole here last year with the Racer's Edge Mazda, so he's certainly fast around this racetrack. Bill did a good job, kept it clean. Got a good car underneath him, Dorsey. They can go a long way here today.
Yeah, and that characteristic he's describing about getting loose, is what this racetrack does. As it gets hot here at Lime Rock, this racetrack does grease up a bit. There's no doubt about it. Always has been.
Up front, Paul Edwards has a 1.7 second lead over John Fogarty. So it's Edwards for Spirit of Daytona, Fogarty for the Gainsco gang. Then Max Angelelli is some 6 more. Actually, I take that back. He's some 10 seconds further back in 3rd place. John Pugh has got the Mike Shank Crown Royal XR Ford up into 4th place over Mike Forrest. This is the 3rd place car, Angelelli, and he's got a solid 2-hour stint to do.
Remember, strategy-wise, these guys are in really good shape. They stopped right at the 45-minute mark on fuel. They should be able to split the difference to the 2-hour 45-minute finish here. The 90 car will expect to see that in 2 more times here today. So 1 less pit stop on this racetrack. That's a big bonus for the 10 car.
No doubt. When you're talking about a pit stop here costing you a lap each time, if you can play a 2-stop versus 3, you got 1 lap in the bank.
Yeah, Edwards and Fogarty run 1-2 right now, but in my mind, the real leader is Angelelli in terms of what their strategy they're playing.
94 is on pit road yet again. What has happened to Paul Dalla? We've got a replay. We're going to show it to you. This will tell us the story.
This is Big Bend, or no, actually it's not either. That's to turn onto the no-name straight, the right-hander. Oh, look right behind him.
Wow, that was Max right behind him. I don't think he was involved in that. Paul just had the car get away from him, but hopefully no damage. It looked like Billy Edwards back in. Joey Hand is here this weekend to help out if needed. We'll have to see how Billy feels on a very tough racetrack with a long stint.
We'd like to send a special hello to our producer, Greg Oldham, who sadly lost his mum last week. Greg isn't with us this week, but we'll be back at Watkins Glen. Greg, our thoughts are with you and your family, mate. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is brought to you by Wall Trimmers, with the power of lithium ion. Visit us at walltrimmer.com. By Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. And by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. We are here in New England at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, and let's bring you up to speed with what has happened thus far in round 5 of the championship. Ricky Taylor on the pole on the left-hand side of your screen gets a good start. So too does Memo Rojas and Paul Edwards as they fight over it, but then there's a collision further back.
There is the two go spinning around and catches out JC France as well. Mike Forrest might have been involved there. Then the 69 and the 44 get together. Emil Asentado eventually losing several laps, stuck in that wet grass.
Of course, that's because the GT car's on a split start. Here we go again. The look to left, Memo Rojas off the road, big wheelie. We're going to have contact right between these two cars, caused a lot of damage to the 0-1.
And that's the damage there. It happened as he jumped that curb left-hand side of the track. Memo Rojas at the wheel, and we thought it was an unforced error. His team manager confirmed that, and that has put them some 8 laps down. And most recently, this is Paul Dalla, GT Championship leader, spinning right in front of Max Angelelli. We get back to live action. The 99 is in. Chris?
Yeah, great stop by the Gainsco crew. Already have 4 new Continental tires on the car, waiting for Sunoco to finish up. Alex Gurney down and away. Great stop by this team, hoping to try and get a win now that they don't have to worry about Ganassi. They're just thinking about SunTrust, and it looks like Spirit of Daytona and maybe Action Express. Brian?
8 is in. Mike Forrest climbing out. Ryan Dial climbing in. 4 new Continental tires. Sunoco fuel going in. Ryan Dial and Mike Forrest, second place here at Lime Rock Park. Liz here, but said they just could not find the handle in the short practice session. We'll see if Ryan Dial can work some of his magic as they get back out on track. They'll be out here shortly.
Did you see the magic from the Gainsco crew that got the 99 of Alex Gurney out to fight for position going down into the first turn with the 10 of Max Angelelli? That was great work by the 99 team.
Yeah, that was really a great start by those guys. They're waiting on fuel. We talk about the fuel cell capacity being reduced by 4 gallons, down from 24 to 20, but they also put a fuel restrictor in the line door to slow it down to enable teams, if they wanted to have an extra driver change conducted, they could do so within that fueling range. So that was why they were waiting on the fuel. Let's equalize that about 32 seconds. Now we see Edwards in. Brian.
Paul Edwards comes to his marks in the 90 Spirit of Daytona Chevrolet Coyote here, and it'll be 4 Continental tires and Sunoco fuel as well. One of the crew members inside the car right now working on what may be the cool bottle or the drink system for Paul Edwards as they go to work. Crew going to work down in here. Edwards, it looks like perhaps tightening up a seatbelt or whatever. The crew member out, the door is closed, waiting for the fuel to finish.
Let's see where he comes out. Let's look for Angelelli in the 99.
There's Angelelli coming on the front straight right there. Here comes Paul out of pits.
That's good stuff. He's going to keep the lead comfortably. Look at that.
Nice work from the Spirit of Daytona team. The 90 Chevy-powered Coyote stays out front.
But he's on cold tires now, and he's going to have to get the temp up pretty quickly as Max has got warm tires and will have more grip for at least a lap.
On board here with the 5.
Now remember, he's going to be the best part of the lap down. We say got out in front of Max Angelelli, but that's just to stay on the lead lap. That's not to keep the lead of the race. That was critical, but that just tells you what a green flag stop cost you here at Lime Rock Park.
These boys here from Action Express have done such a wonderful job. At 3 of the first 4 races of the year, at least one of the 2 cars has been on the podium each time. So that's a wonderful achievement in 2011 so far. Let's go to that camp now.
Well, Darren Law is patiently waiting his turn, and he's right now watching the roof cam off his car. Darren, you can see your teammate David Donahue trying to get up to the 90 car. The 90 car on cold tires, David on warm tires, and that just shows you how tough it is to pass around Lime Rock.
It is. It's really hard to pass here. There's not a lot of room, and you know what, realistically, the Continental tires, they're up to temp within a lap. So if for the 90 guys, if they can hold them off for 4 or 5 corners, it's going to come up to equal terms anyway.
Darren, this team this year has just been great. We've seen 1 win out of both, 1 win and 3 podiums between the 2 cars last year. Pretty comparable difference. What do you think the biggest change is with the team?
Really, you know, with the actual organization is very similar as far as personnel and drivers, obviously, but we've had a lot of changes in upper management with Elton Sawyer coming in, engineering with Ian Watt, and those guys have really made a big switch for the program and really stepped everything up for us.
Well, problems with the 9 car today, but if the 5 car can get a win, they can really close the close up that championship leading Ganassi team. Brian?
Down in the GT pits, it's the 41. Dempsey Racing Mazda that's come in. James Gouet out. Dane Cameron climbing in. Gouet, a good run. That car in 3rd as he came to pit road. But now a little delay getting the driver. Door not closed well either. As Dane Cameron heads back on track, perhaps he can get that snugged up on the way out.
He might not know it's open yet until he gets to turn 1 and probably figure it out pretty quick.
Chris, tell us more about the 69.
Well, Jeff Siegel getting behind the wheel in this car, and the Mazdas were just spectacular last year. You know, the track was repaved. It was just perfectly smooth, and for whatever reason, the Mazdas, it just suited that car, a lightweight, nimble car. But this year, talking to Jeff Siegel, he just said the car just doesn't seem to be grabbing the road with the new tires, so we're still struggling to try and find the handle on it. So last year, a car that really dominated. This year with a new tire, just a little bit different ball game.
Yeah, construction of the tire with the lighter weight Mazda just really doesn't dig in and get the grip they're looking for, so they're still playing with things. They haven't given up by any stretch, but certainly not the performance they were looking for this championship season.
The sister Dempsey Racing Mazda is in. Patrick Dempsey jumping out. Joe Foster ready to climb aboard for his stint as well.
Ballet going on here with the driver change, and what you're allowed a certain amount of crew over the wall, and if the driver decides to hop over, you can have a replacement. Basically, the guys assisting. Joe Foster there is really replacing the role of Patrick Dempsey as the co-driver.
You know, when you get out of that car and you're really tired and your hands have been on that steering wheel gripping really hard, it's sometimes you're clumsy. It's hard to get those belts fastened. It's sometimes, I think, is better for a crew guy that's fresh to go in there and do that job.
And you can see there we're updating you with the points as they run now. Meanwhile, speaking more about GT, class leader is in. Brian?
Robin Liddell brings the Stevenson Motorsports Camaro onto pit road. Jan Magnussen will take his place behind the driver's seat. And meanwhile, the 59 right next door, the Brumos Porsche, taking a chance to do a pit stop as well. Lee Keeble in that car. Jan Magnussen climbing in, getting strapped in. 4 Continental tires, Sunoco fuel. They'll get back and see if they can take back over the lead. This team very fast all year long, still looking for their first victory.
Holding for fuel.
We were talking about them earlier in the show. These guys have only achieved the 7th best finish this year. Has really got us all kind of dumbfounded as to why.
3 poles, they've shown the speed, but I spoke to Mike Johnson. He said, you know what, to win a race, you got to do a million things right, and we're just 1 short every weekend. Something keeps biting us.
Daytona prototypes have only raced here once. It was won by Max Angelelli and Ricky Taylor. Guess what? They've got a commanding lead. The SunTrust Dallara is looking good again. You may remember I mentioned a little earlier in the broadcast about NASCAR on speed. Well, the Camping World Trucks Saturday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. They head to Texas. It is live NASCAR Camping World Truck Series here on speed. Kansas, 1:30 Eastern, where rookie Cole Witt has a 1-point advantage over Johnny Sauter. We welcome you back to Lime Rock Park. Lee Diffie along with Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Brian Till and Chris Neville. And the big storyline here today, other than this car here dominating, is the absence of the 01. Not absence from the racetrack, but absence from the front of the field. There's a big reason why. Let's take a look at a replay. Show you if you're just turning on. Watch to the left of your screen. That's Andrew Davis in the 59 GT car. Look to the left. Rojas tries to go around him. Bang! Hits the ripple strip and it tears the front left of the car, the splitter, and damage to the front end. The man behind the wheel at the time was dual Daytona prototype champion right there, Memo Rojas. What happened, Chris?
Yeah, well, Memo just had a chance to see that replay for the first time, and Memo, obviously, no name straight, can get pretty crowded down there. Was it a little too early in the race to be doing that?
Yeah, I think I apologize to my team. It's a tough track to pass, and I got a good run on the 5 car. He went on the right of the GT car, I went on the left, then the GT car hit me, put me off the road. Probably too risky of a move so early on, and I apologize to my team because we had a really good car.
Well, you still got the points lead, but we've got the 6 hours of the Glen next week. What do you need to do to put this behind you?
Well, we just need to go there, have a good result. We have a good history there. I think we're going to have a good car, and just forget about this and focus on the next one.
Well, like Memo said, the team not only has a good history there, they're just dominant there.
Dorsey, when you are a dual Daytona prototype champion, you won the first 3 races of the year, you're high on confidence. Do you think you can take those risks and get away with them?
Well, you know, in most places you can, but you can't here. Lime Rock has got a history of not being a very forgiving place. As you can tell as you watch the cars go around, the guardrails are in very close proximity. You cannot make mistakes here. You could do that move right there if you were going to the last 3 or 4 laps of the race and you're trying to win for a win. But in the first half hour of a race, it goes 2 hours and 45 minutes long. No, you can't put it there.
I'll show you the Continental race summary as it stands. Daytona prototype leader, we know, is Max Angelelli to the tune of some 40 seconds over Antonio Garcia. Boris Said leads for the Marsh Racing Corvette Whelan team, which is pretty good. Just the 2 lead changes and only 1 caution, and that was right early in the race, and the attrition rate has not been too bad. Just 3 cars not out there from the field that started. Told you about this Whelan Corvette for Boris Said, and it is running strong.
A local team, they're based in Old Lyme, Connecticut, about 95 miles away, so just an hour and a half run for the team, and I'm sure we'll get back even quicker tonight if they're celebrating a win. But with Boris and Eric have so much time here on this racetrack, and the car has shown tremendous potential this year, and we talk about, you know, executing in the Daytona prototype ranks. This is a team that really haven't quite ticked all of the boxes so far, but right now on a superb run here today, but still an hour and 30 to go.
Boris did an amazing job at Barber Motorsports Park. He and Eric Curran led for many, many laps until a little hiccup that prevented them from finishing that race, but otherwise we may have seen this car up front. It got slapped with a 50-pound weight adjustment, which Teddy Marsh, the team principal, and the rest of the guys were like, huh, it's a new car, we're only just getting going. But anyway, they said that's the rule, so we'll take it, get on with it, and now they're showing the true potential of that car. Second place is Jan Magnussen, then Jordan Taylor. So it is definitely a GM-powered day here in the GT class, that's for sure. And let's hear from the man who started the race in that car there, the 57, Robin Liddell. Good opening stint.
Well, you talk about a GM-powered day, the GM product strong all year, and Robin Liddell for you and Jan Magnussen. This 57 car has been very strong. This was your 4th front row start, 3rd pole of the season. But if I told you this far into the season you wouldn't even have a podium, would you have believed it at the beginning of the year?
No, it's been a pretty appalling start to the season. We've had 4 disappointing races, albeit with good pace, right from Daytona all the way through. So, you know, hats off to the guys for persevering and keep working away at it. And also, you know, hi to the Stevensons back home watching. They're not able to come up to this race. So hopefully we can turn it into a result this weekend, because we very badly need a result for this Stevenson Camaro.
How much do you have to conserve the tires right now, Robin, when you go out there to make them last a stint, as hot as it is and as hard as this track is on left side rubber?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the tire wear and tire conservation's an issue here, especially because you're not on the straightaway for very long, so the car's turning all the time, generating heat. Fortunately, I think it's just cooled down a little bit, and you know, I had to work the tires pretty hard we did the early pit stop under the caution, and then I had to work the tires pretty hard to get past the 07 car, And then after that, I just tried to conserve to the end of the stint and just find a rhythm, because it's very easy to overdrive the car and make a mistake. And obviously in those early stages, it's too much of a risk to take. So just trying to drive consistently and not throw the car off in the scenery.
So now up to Jan Magnussen to bring the 57 home to the checkered, guys.
Been a very strong day for the Stevenson Motorsports gang. It's the medicine they needed. Let's switch gears. Let's talk Daytona prototype. Let's talk about a Ford-powered Riley for Mike Shank Racing. John Pugh did well in his opening stint. He's handed over to Oswaldo Negri Jr. behind the wheel right now. This car sits 5th place at the moment. However, it is not on the lead lap. And that's something you hear us talk about a lot at Lime Rock with just the 1.5 mile distance of this track. It easily happens, Cal, doesn't it?
It really does. And talking to Mike this morning, Mike Shank, he said, we've just got to eliminate the mistakes. He said John Pugh has done a tremendous job. We've had a few issues in terms of traffic and getting here. He said Oz made a little mistake at VIR, which is very uncharacteristic of him, but it's costing us. He said we just need to execute, and that's what it's all about right now. I think everyone in this Daytona prototype paddock recognizes the fact you need to drive the flawless race. You can't afford these little mistakes if you want to be back on that podium.
Tell you what's happening a little further up, we'll get to this car in just a moment, is that Antonio Garcia, whether Angelelli's been caught in traffic or not, but Antonio Garcia has taken 10 seconds out of Angelelli's lead. It's down to 30. This man here can do a bit of that as well in the Grout Shield number 8 Ford-powered Riley, Ryan Dial. These guys, every time they seem to get up, they get beaten back down. They had a radiator was holed earlier in the year. They had a gearbox that got damaged at VIR after an incident. And every time they feel they have a shot, they kind of get pushed backwards. So they're looking to rebound as well.
Antonio Garcia, as you were talking about just then, it set his personal best. He's the fastest car on the racetrack at 50.6. So he is, in fact, running down that field, that deficit.
DL finished second here last year alongside Mike Forrest, but Garcia will certainly have the gumption to try and move forward. You have to think that Angelelli is going to be patient in terms of dealing with this traffic, and that will allow someone behind you to eat into that lead, because if you're patient around here, it can cost you 2 or 3 seconds just like that.
And this is the car that he's chasing down at some 31 seconds up the road, which is more than half a lap away. So it's not exactly getting close, but he certainly did take a big chunk of time out of that 10. Let's talk more about the 90. Let's talk more about Spirit of Daytona. Here's Paul Edwards with Chris.
Yeah, and Paul had a great opening stint in the 90 car. Paul, limited track time today. We had a wet session, then kind of a green session. The track was really green, so not a lot of time to work on setup, but it looks like you guys got a good setup on that car, because right now your teammate's running down the 10.
That's great to see. Yeah, it was a limited day today with the wet first session. I've never been here before in the car. It was pretty crazy there at the start with Rojas going all over the place and hitting everybody, and so I just kind of kept it clean and started pecking away. I knew Antonio would get in the car. He's been here before. They were really fast here last year. The Chevy's running great. I think it can get them. Hopefully we can get a yellow so we can close that gap.
Now, I know it's a warm day and all, but you're sitting in the AC in the hauler. Your team's out here on pit lane, man. Is this the life of a factory driver?
Hey, come on now. It's changing because I didn't want to stink for you. I poured myself with water. It's hot out there. I got really hot. I was a little bit lightheaded when I got out of the car, I got to admit. So I thought I wouldn't upset the guys up on the pit cart coming back and soaking the whole stand. So that's good.
Good run by these guys. Hopefully they can break through and get their first win.
Let's see, he's admitting to it right there. It's exactly what I'm talking about. This is physical here, and it's hot, hot, hot.
It is exhausting. You are huffing and puffing around Lime Rock Park, that's for sure.
Best result this year for this car is an 8. We'll see what they can do. What about this man here, the man behind the name? Patrick Dempsey and Dempsey Racing. They've got a car that's up there as well. Quick reminder about Speed Inside Deals is your one-stop shop for exclusive ticket offers for Speed viewers. You can purchase a Grand Am Series ticket to Road America in June and we'll buy you lunch. Visit speed.com/deals for more details. Welcome back to Lime Rock Park. The Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series continues, and this man here, Max the Axe Angelelli, is our Capital One halfway leader. With 1 hour and 21 minutes to go, he's got a commanding lead. However, it is diminishing. It was at one stage 43 seconds. It's down to 24 seconds. The Spaniard, Antonio Garcia, is charging. Here he comes.
He's chasing him hard, and I think Max Angelelli is being very patient. He's got a huge lead, of course. He doesn't want to throw it away, but he's dealing with this GT traffic. He's also been struggling to get around the number 5 Action Express car of David Donahue, and David wants to keep on that lead lap. Here we see him coming down into turn 1. This team will be joined by Bert Frizzell at the 6 Hours at the Glen next week. AIM are not here this weekend, unfortunately. First time in many years that Mark Wilkins is not in our Daytona prototype paddock. But Gamma 88 have made an announcement this week. They're back on board for 3 races with the AIM Autosport team. So they'll be seen at Road America, the second Glen race, and Montreal. That's big news for that team.
It's good work. Good work for them. So Ian Willis and the boys have been working very hard. From Daytona prototype to GT, here is the 40 with Joe Foster behind the wheel. Let's go to the Dempsey camp now. Brian standing by.
We'll leave Patrick Dempsey started off in the 40. And Patrick, for you, it's been baptism by fire these last couple of races. Rain at VIR, rain here this morning. First time to Lime Rock Park. How was it out there?
Well, I've learned a lot today. I think just to survive this track and get ready for Watkins Glen is so important for us. Thank goodness it started in the rain this morning, which slowed things down a bit so I could get a better understanding of the track. Felt pretty comfortable after VIR. I mean, that was quite an odyssey. I mean, a lot of fun, but it was frustrating, made a lot of mistakes. But today I felt much better in the car. Less mistakes and just got a lot of really valuable seat time. It's so busy, though. You're constantly looking in your mirrors. But if we can get out of here without any problems, we'll be very happy.
You're not only learning about driving some of these new tracks, you're learning about the business every year you're involved in this. Tell us about Trina Solar.
Yeah, we're really fortunate to have a new sponsor on board. Trina Solar's coming on, which is really great for us. And there's also a really great charity that we're getting an opportunity to give free solar to different charities out there that need them. And also, I think we really want to think of all the people that have suffered the last couple of weeks in Missouri and certainly in Alabama, working very hard to help them out in the future. Looking forward to that. And Trina Solar being on board for the rest of the year, ModSpace, of course, and Visit Florida is very important for us, and always Mazda.
Always Mazda. Share a little sunshine. It's only fitting that Trina Solar should be on board now. Chris?
Well, John Fogerty right now looking at the timing monitor, checking out where his car is. John, the car is very quick, but you guys are a lap down, but you're on a different strategy than the 10 car. In the last hour of this race, once we get done with these final pit stops, will you guys be back on the lead lap?
We think so. You know, we stopped there on that first yellow, and we're only going to have to make one more stop, and we're hoping that the 10 is going to have to make 2 or going to have a longer stop, and it'll get us a chance to be back up front. But really happy, you know, the team didn't have such good qualifying, but the Gainesville guys and the engineers here, we all put on our thinking caps, and the Gainesville Auto Insurance cars quick for the race, which is what's important. But I think the one who's in the catbird seat, tell you the truth, is the 90 car. We'll see how it all shakes out, but either way, it's looking like a good day for Chevrolet.
Once those pit stops do shake out, if you guys are there to challenge, do you have a car that can challenge for the win?
I think we do. I mean, the lap times have been good. You know, and the car's handling well. I'm hoping that we can keep the tires under us for the duration, and so far so good on that front.
Well, the Red Dragons only had 1 podium this year. They're hoping to change that today.
That 99 is right there with our race leader, so Alex Gurney could get the Red Dragon back on the lead lap by executing a move right here, right now. It's tough, though. Meanwhile, Angelelli's trying to put Donahue down a lap, so keep an eye on this. Everybody's got their own reasons for making a move. This is tough.
You also have Scott Pruitt at the back of that trying to get a lap back, too, as long as you know, Alex Gurney can do it, he'll probably drag Pruitt right along and get another one back. Of course, that car is many, many laps down.
8 laps down. Dorse unfamiliar territory for Scott Pruitt.
I think Gurney may force Angelelli's hand here in terms of being a bit more aggressive with the 5 car. He can't afford to let too many cars back onto this lead lap. I think in terms of what Fogarty is talking about strategy, I think the 10 car can squeak it on one more stop, but it would certainly be a full fill as opposed to the 99 cars should be a little bit shorter.
Guess what this is doing for Antonio Garcia? It's assisting him. 20 seconds is now the margin between first and second. So car number 90, here it is. The Spaniard continues to surge.
Yeah, and he's closing in. You said 20 seconds, Lee, and his stop will be shorter than Angelelli's because he stopped some 21 laps after Angelelli did. So he's got 21 laps more fuel on board. So that shortens his final stop considerably.
Watch this down into turn 1. They got balked by some of the GT cars. Pruitt coming in, so he's not part of that anyway. But
yeah, this car is some 8 laps down, so it's not a contender today. Not a contender today. An hour and 15. Give us some numbers, Cal. What have they got to see for that final stop to get to home? What's that drop dead point?
Well, I think for Angelelli, Ricky Taylor came in right at the 44-minute mark, so to split the difference, he's got to do another hour. So he's got to get to, like, you know, an hour left in this race to really make it all the way. And we've got an hour and 15 left, so he's got 15 minutes before he left to hit pit lane again. For Gurney, he's got 21 laps more fuel on board, so he's got a lot bigger margin to work with.
Dramas in the pit for the 77. Brian, what's going on there?
Well, you know, Brian Frizzell had such a great run at VIR in the 77, but right now a problem with the blipper on the paddle shift. That is the system that automatically raises the RPM to match wheel speed and engine speed on a downshift. It's hanging up, so right now when Brian downshifts, right now when Brian downshifts, the throttle blips, it raises the RPM but way too high and gets stuck, so it almost accelerates on a downshift.
That's not good. That is part of the computer-run system that, while you shift, makes it as close to an automatic as you could ever get. All you really have to do is just pull the lever back nowadays.
And remember, that is an option for 2011 for the Pro-Am teams. The driver combination, that it is a Pro-Am combination to have that new paddle shift system in 2011.
This is interesting. Pruitt went in the pits, came back out of the pits, and look where he came back in, right in the middle of the fray that he just left.
Cost you one lap, as we said. A full service here with the, it's about 26 seconds delta, the difference between staying on track and driving down pit lane at 45 miles an hour. Plus the service is right at 50 seconds.
Race leader in GT is in. And Eric Curran hops around the back of the car. Did he hurt himself there? It looked like he was
might
limping.
have twisted himself coming around there. Brian?
Well, boys, you're making me work today because I'm running down pit lane. I can see you guys have that from a high camera. Obviously, Borisad has brought that in. Down at the very end of pit road, it's going to be 4 Continental tires and a load of fuel. It'll be interesting to see driver change going on. And I don't know, you guys were talking about Eric Curran stumbling when he got in the car. Right now, the driver change is taking a little longer than it should, trying to get that window net up. But the good thing is fuel's still going in, so they have a little bit of time before the stop would take too long. Safety net, radio being plugged in, then Aaron Kirk will be down and away. Its fuel is done, so right now the delay is with the driver change.
Calvin, it's like you said, with the Sunoco fuel adding with the smaller restrictor, they've timed it to make it a slow fuel on purpose so you can have time to do these different things.
Fresh tires on Pruitt. Look at that. He goes around David Donahue. So he's made mincemeat of these guys who are battling it out, and Angelelli is definitely feeling the heat, and you're for sure Simon Hodgson, team manager for SunTrust, will be giving him the split back to Garcia, who's running second and closing in on our leader.
And again, for those of you just turning on, the familiar 01 up the front, that is not the case. It is some 8 laps down after an incident earlier in the race. The championship leading car is not vying for victory here today, Chris.
Well, and we thought earlier that Scott Pruitt might only do 30 minutes in that car, get his points, and put the car in the box and head off to Watkins Glen. But the team is, at this point in time, looking at it as, let's learn more about the car and these tires. Scott Pruitt was just in, did a full pit stop, and the team made quite a few changes to the car because they're trying to learn as much as they can because we still have a full season ahead of us. So Tim Keene said, hey, Scott, go back out there and see what you can do. Let's learn as much as we can about these tires. It's kind of an open test session right now, but he did come out by Max Angelelli, and Max Angelelli didn't really like that. He radioed back to the team. He said, what's Scott doing? He's so many laps down. Simon Hodgson immediately told Max, hey, he's not in this race. Just let him go. Get him out of there. Let him go and do whatever he wants. We've got to win this thing.
And you may have noticed the 99 of Alex Gurney got himself back on the lead lap by getting by our race leader, Max Angelelli.
That was great because not only does he have more fuel on board, he's got better tires, 20 laps less tire wear on Gurney.
And that lead, Angelelli over Garcia, is down to 14 seconds. Don't go away. We're back at Lime Rock, and nothing has changed. Certainly not in Antonio Garcia's world for Spirit of Daytona Racing. He is on a mission. He can now see Max Angelelli, the race leader. There's Angelelli going into one. Here is the 90. It's less than half the straightaway distance. It's down to 3.6 seconds.
Wow, this is an unbelievable run, and Angelelli has just got himself in a mess there with traffic that he cannot clear. He doesn't have good rubber on it. That's really getting to the end of its stint. They've got to keep him out there. They've got to get about another 8 minutes out of this fuel load to really do it on one more stop. Garcia is coming, and he has more fuel on board. I was doing the calculation. If they do a time fill on Garcia, his pit stop could be about 8 seconds faster than Angelelli as well. But he's going to be right with him anyway. This is unbelievable how this race has turned around in the last 10 minutes.
And once you can see your adversary, somehow you can go faster. You can dial yourself in to catching him. And that's inevitable, I believe.
At one point in time, the number 10 had a 43-second lead. It is now only 3 seconds. Also, the 99, here it is here, Alex Gurney got by David Donahue. So did it Oz Negri, and Donahue went into pit. The 5 has just come back out now.
And he's right in the, kind of not in the way because there's not much you can do about it, but these guys battling, trying to get around.
It's going to be tight for Donahue with 1 hour and 7 to go, I think, to make it without a splash. Everyone told me an hour was pushing the limit, maybe 58 minutes, so they need some yellow help to do it without another visit to pit lane.
Quick update on GT. Good to see the 70 back out, by the way. There is the 70 Mazda. Magnussen leads commandingly over Jordan Taylor, so that Auto House Camaro is back up there in the top 3. And the 59 Brumos Porsche at the hands of former series champ Lee Keane is in the top 3 over Dane Cameron and Eric Curran. So it's a really heightened performance by that Brumos Porsche. Here's the Speed Source 69 off track. Jeff Siegel gets it back on the black stuff and in the right direction. Let's go to Brumos now. Let's check in with Andrew Davis.
Andrew Davis did the first stint in the 59, and Andrew, you and I were talking about tire conservation, long runs versus short runs. What does Lee Keane have to work with right now in the 59?
Well, this Brumos crew has done such a great job from the get-go today. We had a good car, we qualified well, and I had a long run out there. We were able to get the tires to work pretty well for us. It goes away in the middle, then kind of comes back at the end. So I think we've got a podium car, which is really what we're fighting with. I can't say enough for this Brumos crew. We've really done a lot of work on our Porsche and gotten it to where now we're in contention. So really, really excited.
And obviously, right now, there's a lot of history with Brumos Racing, especially here at Lime Rock. Early in the event, we saw, you talked about traffic, we saw a little mix-up with the 01 car. What did it look like from your seat?
Oh, I'll tell you, you don't realize how fast-paced this race is until you get in it. And from my perspective, I was letting the Action Express car by on the right, and then I look, and there was Memo on the left in the dirt. It could have been a really big wreck. It's just, I was the meat and the sandwich there. I'm just really glad that it turned out like it did for us, because that could have been really bad. I wasn't expecting to let him by on that side. He still got by, but it was ugly afterwards. So.
You know, a lot of people, we talk about the history here with Brumos, and a lot of people look at this organization as, well, this is the way it's been, but we've really seen it improve over the year. You were pointing out earlier that probably 60 or 70% of these crew members are new in 2011.
Well, yeah, we've got a very experienced crew individually, but as a squad, we're new. So that gelling together process has really started to happen, and over the last 3 races, you've seen us improve. You've seen us been more confident with the car, and it's all just coming together. Again, I gotta say, the guys are working tirelessly at the shop, and they showed up here for a very difficult one-day event with a great car. It's great for Brumos Racing.
You heard him say it's a team sport indeed, and this Brumos team really coming together, gelling together, and they're looking for a podium finish here at least, Lee.
You're looking at Rolex 24 winner, Le Mans 24 winner, Antonio Garcia trying to weave his way through lap traffic. He's trying to get by the sister Action Express cars. Here is one of the Salins GT Mazdas. He clears that, no worries. However, it's swinging the other way now. Cal Angelelli has extended his lead to 7 seconds because of traffic.
Because of traffic, he stalled out a little bit, meaning his tire performance is going away a little bit. He suddenly gets into traffic. They have fresher rubber on than him, like the 5 car of Darren Law, and suddenly he can't go anywhere, and Angelelli has found a clear spot, and he's laying down some decent lap times again.
You know, if you're running really quickly like that and you catch back markers that are slower, not back markers, but guys that are slower, it breaks your momentum. You're now at their speed, and you can't get back up on the horse again.
The key to this race, I believe these guys are going to try and run out to about an hour left, make that full fuel load. For the Garcia group and the Spirit of Daytona, they've got to do a time fill. If they top him up, they'll basically be doing the same length of pit stop as the 10 team, and they're not going to need that. That's really going to be the critical factor, I think, when they make their final stop.
GT class leader is Jan Magnussen. He has quite a healthy margin over Jordan Taylor. It's a Camaro 1-2 at the moment, different teams. Stevenson leads the way over Auto House. Lee Keane in third. Dane Cameron is the best of the Mazda bunch. He's there for Dempsey Racing, and then Eric Curran is 5th in the Whelan Marsh Corvette. So that's how things stand in GT at the moment with just over 1 hour to go.
As we've said, though, this team really needs to get the monkey off their back. They just have not had the finish results. They've had performance, and the speed's been there, but just have had a horrible performance on the finish of the race.
And the team was spoken to by Johnny Stevenson, the team owner, recently, where he said, guys, you doing 99% of the things absolutely correct. Just get rid of that 1%, those little mistakes that are creeping into our game, and everything will be just fine.
Jordan Taylor's just about to wrap up 60 laps on this stint, so I'd have to think that he's getting really close to having to visit pit lane. If he does so, maybe he doesn't have to come again. This is going to be a critical factor for them in terms of their result today.
I agree. He's pushing the envelope for the fuel. If he's gone 60 already, when you're looking at almost a minute a lap, that's put him out there for quite a way.
And this is where sports car racing, we underscore the fact that it is not just about the drivers. This truly is a team sport. The people back on the respective pit boxes working the numbers, working the strategy, finding out how much they're willing to gamble, how much fuel do they need with an hour and 2 to go. Chris, tell us more.
Well, listening to some team communication on the 10 car, Max Angelelli last time by asked his team manager Simon Hodgson, how many more laps until I get to come in and get off these tires? Simon Hodgson replied, 8 more laps, Max, 8 more laps. Max Angelelli's reply was, whoa.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you start asking questions to your crew about how many more laps, that's when you're desperate. You're really not feeling good in the car right now.
The key is, though, looking at the numbers, with an hour and 2 to go, if he runs 8 more laps, that will mean he's done well over an hour.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So that would be where he'd run out. But what is the efficiency of the tire? What they're then looking at is, if we get the new tires on early, they're going to be worse at the checkered flag stage of this race. They're just really looking at forward, seeing what they're going to have at the end of this race. They realize the 90 car is quick. They want Angelelli on the freshest tires for the final 10 minutes of this event.
This is not for position, but it is an annoyance for Antonio Garcia. He's trying to get by Darren Law, who's down in 6th place, not on the lead lap. This is far from done. Fascinating finish coming up. We've still got an hour to go. You can stay informed with the latest Rolex Grand Am updates right from the track. Find video highlights, expert analysis, driver blogs, and plenty of photo galleries as well. Get more at speed.com in the auto racing section. So much motorsport going on this weekend. Wasn't that an unbelievable Indy 500 yesterday? We congratulate our friend Danny Weldon for winning it, who's competed here in the Rolex series before. He is a Rolex 24 winner himself. Race leading car is in. Pressure now is on the SunTrust team to get this man serviced as quickly as he can and send him. Chris Neville is standing by. Pressure stuff here, Chris.
Yeah, this is critical, and they were hoping to squeeze a couple more laps out of the car, but Max Angelelli radioed to the team, I'm being held up, I'm being held up. Simon Hodgson said, Max, come now if you're being held up. So this has got to be a perfect stop. This team did slip and fall back at Barber by not tightening up the right rear lug nut there, losing a tire when Max Angelelli went back on the racetrack. This stop has to be perfect. 4 new Continental tires, a full drop of Sunoco fuel, just waiting on that fuel now. All the tires done, and the other critical thing is it's got to be a great outlap. Max Angelelli has to go out there and run real hard, because you know Antonio Garcia, the Spirit of Daytona guys, they're waiting and watching on this style. You know Antonio's going to try and make up as much time as he can as soon as he gets back on the racetrack.
Well, let's look for Garcia. He's probably coming down this front straightaway. So Angelelli has stayed on the lead lap, so the 90 now assumes the lead, and I have to think they've got to be really careful with their strategy. They can't afford for Garcia to get wrapped up in this traffic, running ineffective lap times, otherwise the potential for victory will go away. They could potentially pit right now. If the other Chevy is in its window, this one should be too.
Ineffective is the key word, because Garcia has not been able to execute a pass on Darren Law in that number 5 Action Express Porsche.
And there's 5 cars in front of that. He's got to do. This is the time to pit right now.
I'd pit him right now. It's going to be a shorter time. They can actually not, gamble with a time fill. That can go wrong. Just top him up. They're going to need a full fuel load. We're hearing they're saying they don't have to do, they can't do it now. Well, they don't need to. There's 56 minutes now on the board, and he's just bottled up in traffic. This is critical time in this race.
Bring him in, bring him in. They don't. He's staying out. And again, tries to line up a move on Darren Law. Law defends again. The more this goes on, the more the pendulum swings back to the 10.
Yeah, I was about to say, they just lose a lap of opportunity right here.
You also run the risk of a yellow. If a yellow comes out, pit lane is closed, so he can't pit and come in, and suddenly Angelelli's at the front of the queue.
They whip by.
Connect my closer.
They whip by the 44 Magnus Racing Porsche. Been a bit of a frustrating day.
Stop. We'll get a driver helper in there to fix you on that stop. We'll try to fix that cool suit for you.
Oh, if you've got a cool suit issue around this place, it can be an absolute nightmare, Chris.
Yeah, Calvin, I don't think the issue was can it go that hour on the fuel. I think the issue was Antonio Garcia, can you do another hour because his cool system is not working properly. So the team said, Antonio, we need you to do another hour. We're going to get a driver assist in the car and make sure everything is hooked up properly, but you're going to have to dig deep.
Yeah, if he's hurting right now, another hour is going to be almost impossible to deal with.
Remember, Paul Edwards said he was lightheaded when he got out of the car and had to go to the transport and get in the AC, so maybe there's an issue with that cockpit temp.
When you do the driver change, you give core cooling.
That's a black car, and black cars have the most heat, so of any color out there, that car is probably 10, 15 degrees hotter inside than lighter colored cars. I know that because I have black cars.
They're coaching Garcia, they're informing him, they're letting him know exactly where this car is, what the margin is between the two of them.
You're just going to have to try to hold on there, buddy, for me, all right?
That's the voice of Troy Fliss, team principal.
You cannot understand that long message. Yes, we're going to try to fix your cool suit and give you some water and some ice. You got Angelelli is in for the same amount of time. We just got to see if we can hold on here, buddy.
But as soon as you think we are in the window compared to what we gain on fueling less, I mean, the tires are gone.
Yeah, this is critical time. I mean, they need a pit. He's a second and a half slower than Angelelli right now, and you know, the lead is just going to dwindle, so by the time he makes his pit stop, Angelelli's going to be down the road.
He drove so hard to get where he is, now they're just going to give it back. It doesn't make any sense.
That last 10 minutes they're trying to squeak out of this set of tires is ineffective in terms of their ultimate lap timers compared to when they're fresh.
Updating you on GT, Jordan Taylor has pitted in the 88 Auto House Camaro. He has dropped down the order, so the revised running is Jan Magnussen, Lee Keane is second, Dane Cameron third, Eric Curran fourth, and Billy Aublin just went out of shot there in that turn, and BMW is up into the top 5.
Yeah, this isn't good now. I mean, he's just falling back. And you can tell by just the...
Pit this lap, Antonio, pit this lap.
By the tone of his voice, you can tell he's begging. He knows it needs to come in.
Well, when you're really tired also, and the car is sliding around, it is doubly difficult.
Hang on here, buddy.
Give him some fresh tires so he suddenly gets a new lease on life.
Absolutely correct.
99 and the 60, that's Alex Gurney, Oz Negri running here in second and third at the moment. Of course, they will need to pit one more time to finish this race. Here is Angelelli in the background. And it's a pressure stop coming up for Spirit of Daytona. They have said, we can do it, we can win, we can be competitive, we've got to deliver, we've got to give a car to our drivers. They've been doing that.
45, 45.
There's been a little bit of bad luck and some errors combined to keep them off some top points hauling positions. Today is their best opportunity. Chris is there, tell us about it.
Yeah, Lee, and I talked to Troy Fliss about that earlier today. He said, you know what, we are fast. We're fast off the truck every weekend now, but we're still learning how to win. We're still making some mistakes. And this is one of these times where this might work out for them and it might not work out for them. And then they're going to have to look at that strategy and realize what they did wrong if this doesn't play out in their favor. But Troy Fliss, he wanted to wait till that 10 car in came in. He wanted to take a timed fuel stop. So he's holding the car right now. He's waiting a few more seconds on fuel, but Antonio Garcia pulled away and the fuel probe came out of the car. So a little bit longer stop than Troy Fliss was hoping to make.
Oh, that was critical, Chris. They had that fuel probe in there for about 27 seconds, and 32 is a full fuel load. He's only about 5 minutes shy of needing a full fuel load, so that could be, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be close. We saw it Indy yesterday. Hopefully it doesn't play out here today at Lime Rock.
Been an amazing race short on yellows. Only one yellow so far. That I'm sure nobody was going to consider that. At Lime Rock, you almost always have yellow.
Last year we had 5 full course cautions for a total of 33 laps and only 3 more cars than what we have here today. So it has been a tremendous green flag run here at Lime Rock Park. Just over 50 minutes remain. And the final stop for the Mike Shank car.
Just rethinking the 90 stop there. They probably weren't completely out by when they stopped. So maybe they're okay. Maybe they are okay. He probably still had a fair bit of fuel still in the tank. That would have shortened that fill time.
Alex Gurney inherits the lead. However, the 99 Red Dragon, the Chevy-powered Riley, needs to stop. Angelelli will cycle to the stop. What is the gap between he and Antonio Garcia for overall honours? We'll tell you when we come back. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is brought to you by Continental Tire. Innovative technology, driving confidence. By Mazda, Zoom Zoom. And by Sunoco, the official fuel of Grand Am and fuel provider to 40 other racing series. We're back on just a glorious day at Lime Rock Park, and let's bring you up to speed with what has happened. This has been the biggest news story so far. Championship leader Memo Rojas makes a rare error, tries to go around the outside of Andrew Davis, trying to get the advantage on this car here, David Donoghue, and damages the front end of that BMW Riley severely. That cost them how much? 8 laps. And the potential to win their 4th race this year. It's been going beautifully for the SunTrust Dallara, though.
Yeah, they started on the pole with Ricky Taylor. He turned it over to Angelelli. Here he is on his final pit stop of the day. He comes out, he stays on the lead lap, but hands the lead over to Antonio Garcia, who's in the thick of this traffic in the 90 Spirit Daytona machine.
It has been a wonderful seesaw battle. This was just moments ago. The final stop for this Chevy-powered Coyote. It's the only car like it in the field. And the boys from Daytona Beach, Florida, doing an amazing job, getting him serviced, trying to supplement him there, trying to do something, cool him down with that cool suit failure and get the Spaniard on his way. And while we're in the break, Alex Gurney came in.
Yes, he did. He had then assumed the lead from the 90 machine. And Alex Gurney said, I'm in traffic, pit me now. Carl Brannon made the call. They got it to pit lane. He's now back on track, and these 3 cars are going to battle for the win here today.
And that's a driver being heads up, understanding that he was going to lose that much time because being behind those GT cars, this was the time to stop. And Kyle didn't argue about that. He knew also it was correct.
2 hours down, 45 minutes to go, and we got a one-on-one fight. Just 6 seconds between this man here, the Italian Max Angelelli, and the Spaniard Antonio Garcia.
Now, Garcia has already said that he was struggling in the cockpit. Can he hang on? He's got good grip level right now, Dorsey. But as those tires start to wear a little bit, he doesn't have the grip factor with him. He's going to have to work the steering wheel harder. That just exhausts you.
And we don't know for sure if that cool suit's fixed or not.
And perhaps the most nervous man in this whole racing precinct, no, it's not Wayne Taylor, it's Troy Fliss.
Yeah, Lee, and Troy is on pins and needles down here, taking a look at the timing. Troy, you told me before that pit stop that it was going to be a time stop. You were going to try and make up some time here in pit lane, but Antonio initially pulled away. Did you get enough fuel in the car?
Yeah, we did. We got enough fuel in the car. We just need to work with him a little bit. It's really hot out there. He's been here for a long time, so we ended up opting to try to work with him. Our cool suit broke and Paul got out, so he's been in there with no cool suit. So just trying to keep him cool and calm. We can make it to the end now. We're just going to see if we can close in on that 10 car.
We listened to Antonio for a couple laps before he came in, and he sounds just beat in there. Did you cool him off enough, and is he going to be able to make it to the finish?
We hope so. We did everything we could do for right now, but he's a great guy, and he'll pull it out if he can. If not, we probably won't take a risk. We'll put Paul back in if we need to.
Good luck.
And Dorse, Antonio Garcia doesn't have some flesh to spare like you and I do. He is quite lean. He's very Formula One-esque. That was his career path. He wanted to get there, didn't quite make it. He used to hang out, and he actually used to beat 2-time Formula One world champion Fernando Alonso in go-karts. However, he is quite slight of build. There is not a lot to spare there, so he is hanging on, doing the best he can, and he's taken a little bit of time out of Angelelli on that last lap, around about a second.
He has, and he's got Pruitt right behind him, pushing him where the 69 is spun out on track, so yeah, that's going to be a factor with the yellow potentially, but the 90 car is really doing a good job here. He's got to dig deep, and we talk about the fitness level of a professional driver these days, Dorsey. These guys are unbelievably fit. They're really pro athletes. They work out hard for many, many hours in the gym every single day, not like once a year like you used to, mate, but they can handle these conditions.
Jeff Siegel had it off with his Mazda. We'll see this right on a replay. Gets pretty congested. Maybe he got bumped there. I'm not sure. He was definitely forced to the outside of the racetrack.
Hasn't been a happy time of late. He led at VIR a couple of weeks ago, but then got involved and off the racetrack there too. So Speed Source boys not having a great day.
Back into their respective pit box. This is tough. Keep in mind, this is the championship winning car of last year. Jeff Siegel, Emil Assuntato, they came into this weekend 7th in points. They're saying, I know that doesn't sound that great. We feel as though we're still in touch. However, today has not gone to plan.
Well, they're only 4 points out of second, and I think that's why they felt they were still in the game. But you just can't afford to keep having little issues like this cropping up and costing you track position.
What a day it's been for the Stevenson group. What a turnaround. This is more like it. This team, as Dorsey said right at the top of the show, is 12th in points. That is not where we are used to seeing the 57.
Key is, though, Magnussen has 57 laps since he last pitted. He's got to hit pit lane here, probably within the next 10 laps or so. Jordan Taylor has made that final pit stop potentially, so that's going to be the real key factor there, where these guys line up after the 57 pits.
And if you talk to the rivals, here is the new second place car, Dane Cameron in the 41 Dempsey Racing JG Sport machine. If you talk to the rivals of the 88 Autohouse car, they said there was no way that car was going to make it when they came in at VIR. A yellow came out, the gamble paid off. Guess what? That's part of endurance sports car racing.
Absolutely. I mean, you never know. There's going to be some twists and turns throughout the course of one of these 2-hour 45-minute races. Brian?
Well, the 41 on pit road, Dan Cameron behind the wheel right now. It'll be 4 Continental tires and fuel. I talked to James Gouet. He said they had a podium car, the 59, in as well. Lee Keen still behind the wheel. Driver assist reaching in, making sure, oh, I see the air tip to Lee Keen's helmet is undone, so he's not been getting fresh air. The driver assist will take care of that. And the crew going to the front tires, so 4 Continental tires, a full load of Sunoco fuel, and some fresh air for Lee Keen in this Brumos Porsche.
Where's that left rear? I was about to say.
Yeah.
Taking a long time getting that around there.
And if you want to talk about a man who lives for the brand, the driver assist guy there was Donnie Leatherwood. He lives and breathes and bleeds Brumos. He is part of that institution and has been for such a long time. So the famous 59 gets sent, and even with that extended stop, it still beats the 41 out. So nice work. They're fighting over the podium position there. So pressure on Dane Cameron, who has never been here before.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. See where Jordan Taylor and Eric Curran's in really good shape too. He's got a lot more fuel on board than the 57 car, but I got to feel he's going to need a splash. He's got 34 laps on the board with 40 minutes to go. I don't think that matches, but could be tight. I think they pitted with an hour 15 to go, as I recall, for the 31 machine.
You just saw a quick flash of the 88 of Jordan Taylor. He's got around Lee Keen and Dane Cameron. So that 88 Autohouse Camaro is up into third, chasing this man here.
Could be knocking on the door again here today. It's going to be really, really curious to see when this 57 pits, which may be on this lap, how things shake up with track position to the 88.
There's the 90 of Antonio Garcia. He's just 5.4 seconds behind Max Angelelli. 40 minutes to go in this race.
For guys like that are tired
Good in lap, good in lap here, good in lap.
40 minutes is a long way.
That's the voice of
Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson there.
6 speed. All right, here we go, guys.
He's a very good coach on the radio, very good team manager, but he really encourages and informs his drivers of what's going on. Let's go down.
Jan Magnussen staying in the car, 4 new tires and a load of fuel. While the crew goes to work on the Continentals, Magnussen sits patiently in the car. No refreshing of a drink bottle. Everything good inside the cockpit. Little hang up on the air hose over here on the right-hand side, but this is a routine stop. Talked to Andrew Davis about the difference between the Porsche and the Camaro, and he said, you know, the thing about the Camaro is it's just got great brakes on it. Right now, the 57 has been absolutely magic all weekend long. Jan Magnussen, we'll see if they can lucky.
And that 57 gets sent just as the 31 is coming down off the hill.
He'll make it easy, though. That 31 just now coming into view, coming down the downhill. It's got essentially the whole front straightaway, but he's on cold tires.
Yep. Looking in good shape for the 57, boys.
So we'll watch this chase in GT unfold. There's the Stevenson gang and Mike Johnson, proud of his boys. They're back where they belong, back where we're used to seeing them. And Robin Liddell, a nod of the head, things look good.
Welcome back to Rolex action at Lime Rock Park. Our closest challenger for the lead, Antonio Garcia, and the 90 car just had to come into pit lane. We've been listening to Antonio on the radio for about the last 20 minutes, just complaining about how hot he was. His cool suit wasn't working. He was overheating. And finally, he gave up, guys. He said, I can't go any longer. There's no time to rest around this racetrack. His cool suit wasn't working, and he just needed to get out of the car. So he came to pit lane. His teammate, Paul Edwards, back behind the wheel. Antonio is now sitting under the pagoda down here on the stairs. He's got a team of paramedics around him taking his pulse. Also, Dr. John Galletti, who's worked with Brumos for almost a decade now, is keeping an eye on him and making sure that this driver is okay. You know, this can be a pretty scary situation when drivers come out of cars like this and are overheating, and they just want to make sure that he cools off as quickly as possible and hopefully won't have to go to the hospital.
You know, guys ask me all the time, still to this day, do I miss driving? Would you want to drive again? That's your answer, no. That is the most brutal, horrible feeling I did for so many years when you get in that position where you just cannot muster it any further.
I tell you, physically he's not feeling good, but mentally he's got to be tortured too, because he realized that they had a really good shot for the third weekend in a row of getting a victory here.
How much did it cost them? They've dropped to 4th place, no longer on the lead lap, and we've just been informed that the team may be receiving a 10-second penalty for having an extra man over the wall on that stop. So rubbing salt into the wounds.
I mean, if a driver actually does what he did right there, which is throw in the towel himself, he's already, I mean, he's not going to make it any further. That penalty we were talking about had already been served while they were down there on pit lane, so they won't have to come in further.
And that's a disaster for this team, but they'll rebound. They had a podium finish at the Glen last year with Buddy Rice and Antonio Garcia. They've got a strong race car. Just got to keep knocking on that door and rebound. But meanwhile, Angelelli leads, but Negri is the man on the move, Lee. The 60 car now up to 2nd. During that round of pit stops, he leapfrogged around Alex Gurney.
And is the big winner of that, with the 90 going back to 4th place. Oz is up to 2nd, set for a season best result. You see the 01 of Scott Pruitt there, who's been the fastest man in this race, sweep through on the inside. This is not for position. Scott is just doing the best he can and hanging in there right to the end for the final 33 laps. But I imagine there's a smile or two down at the Mike Shank team, Chris.
Yeah, he's smiling, but he's also lobbying down here. He was just talking to some Grand Am officials. Mike, what were you talking to the officials about?
Well, I mean, we're one yellow away from a better finish than the Indy 500 and the 600 the other night. I mean, if we could get a yellow out here, we're going to give them a hell of a race here at the end.
You know the racetrack's just right on the other side of these haulers. Why don't you go pitch something out on the racetrack?
I'm thinking about it. Listen, can't say enough about John Pugh, Oswaldo Negri. Crown Royal, this car is really fast. It's got one of the 2 fastest race laps. So good. Great pit stops. I mean, just need a yellow.
Yeah, boy, these guys have been flying under the radar all day long, and I looked up at the timing and scoring, and it was kind of like, whoa, where'd they come from?
This is a very special place, too, for John Pugh, who started the race in the Crown Royal XR Ford. 10 years ago, he came here with his son to do some Skip Barber driving. He said, I just wanted to come out and have some fun on a weekend. Here I am a decade later racing in Grand Am Rolex Series competition, and John's been around for many years now in the series, and he is one of the best Pro-Am drivers that Grand Am can boast, that's for sure. And a podium on offer right here, right now, in half an hour's time.
Well, they need a yellow, but they don't want to be the yellow. That's the next part of that equation.
Yeah, and they just have such good chemistry, that's John Pugh and Oz Negri, because they work together well even on their off weekends from this racetrack. They'll do some karting down in Miami, just really trying to fine-tune John's skills, and Oz is one of the best teachers, one of the fastest race car drivers in the business. It's a great combination to have.
You find those guys down in my brother Tony Schrader's track down in Miami, like you're talking about, they're there all the time. I mean, they're just a fixture down there. And that's really good workout. It's good workout on your physical aspect, but also mentally. 99 coming in, or did he?
Oh, what's going on there? This is unexpected.
Yeah, he was looking like he was trying to get in the pits and couldn't make it.
Something amiss with Gurney's car.
So life suddenly is a whole lot less stressful for Max Angelelli. And the SunTrust Dallara, now with Chevrolet power, is cruising out in front.
Some nervous moments there when Angelelli was stuck in that traffic in the mid part of this race, and Garcia was just carving into that lead. And I'm sure Wayne Taylor and Simon Hodgson and the rest of the crew were really nervous at that point. But it all settled back down. Garcia went through a similar issue, and then the cool suit issue really has cost them.
Super battle in GT. This is Lee Keane. He's just got by Jordan Taylor for that final step on the podium. And I think in the background, Dane Cameron won't be far away either.
Right there, actually.
So we'll keep an eye on that. But the 59 has moved up, and it could get its best result of the season as well. We've got Chris Neville standing by at the Gainsco Bob Stallings team. And we understand that they've instructed John Fogarty to get ready. So is Alex Gurney experiencing some physical exhaustion as well, similar to Antonio Garcia? Let's find out.
You got it, Lee. That's the issue. We're starting to hear more and more drivers complaining about the heat. It's a beautiful day here, but it is warm, it is humid, and you can see Alex Gurney having a tough time getting out of this car. And these guys typically, heat is not an issue. So Gurney obviously having a difficult time with the Gainsco car. Fogarty getting behind the wheel and not really doing it with any speed, because I think they realize because of this situation that they're going to be taken out of contention for a win unless we see a problem with the 10 car. And we have seen Max Angelelli in the past have a difficult time late in the race on hot, humid days.
The way he hopped over the pit wall,
yeah,
he looked pretty fit.
Well, you know, it's funny about that, though, because you get a little bit of surge of adrenaline coming in, and that can carry you until you go sit down, and then all of a sudden, that's where you see guys pass out a lot. You know, the adrenaline is over, and it's just not lights out.
So we're inside half an hour to the checkered flag. Angelelli has a handsome lead over Oz Negri, Paul Edwards third. And this will assist the 5 of Darren Law with the 99 coming in unexpectedly. So the Action Express, the 5 Action Express will be the highest finishing car out of that team today. We'll talk more about GT. What a fabulous day it's been here at Lime Rock Park.
Back in January, I had the opportunity to drive BMW's 1M at Daytona, the first time on a racetrack for that car. Very lightweight, nimble package. Jump to the opposite end of the M spectrum, BMW's X5M. The concept was originally proven back in 2001 with the Williams V12 under the hood, but the engine alone cost $250,000. After breakthroughs in cost-effective power, BMW successfully integrates what we expect of the M brand with this 5,000-pound SAV. Under the hood, a 4.4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 puts out over 550 horsepower, 0 to 60 in just over 4 seconds. Road holding is achieved with hydraulic sway bars, and the typical M stopping power comes from massive brake calipers on 15.5-inch rotors. The BMW X5M is the official vehicle of Lime Rock Park, and once again, BMW is packing legendary performance in a very unique platform.
And we've only seen that car once on track today, just the one full course caution. Quick reminder, it's a busy week of racing because we are at the Glen, Watkins Glen, for the famed 6-hour event next Saturday, this coming Saturday, and you can see it here on Speed at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. I think the local people of the community surrounding Lime Rock are still looking for Chris after terrorizing them on the local roads, shooting that piece. What a sad picture that is. The spirit of Daytona. Chevy Coyote is over and out. What a day. That car could have driven to victory lane. It's gone this way. Less than 25 minutes to go. We'll get an update on the 90 for you. But as far as the 10 is concerned, it is looking good. However, Oz Negri is within 40 seconds of this car. You heard Mike Shank, team principal, say all we need is a yellow just to get us back up there and let us get fighting with this 10. Tell us more, Chris.
Well, Lee, just wanted to kind of put a period on the story as you saw the 90 being pushed behind the wall. The problem is a shifter in that car. We saw engine problems back at Barber, which took them out of that race. Then a bit of contact with Alex Gurney at VIR, and now shifter problems here. So just like Troy Fliss told me earlier in the weekend, they've got all the speed in the world. They just need to put together a good race and get the result.
Well, that's a shame. You know, you see the trouble with some of the drivers now with this heat. And this man, Osvaldo Negri Jr., if he could somehow make up that deficit, be it a yellow or whatever, and he puts a lot of pressure on Max Angelelli. Max is another driver who really has trouble when it gets into these gruesome conditions.
From the 60 to the 5, Darren Law and his co-driver David Donahue, who started the race. It's going to be a very happy finish again because they're in third place at the moment. It will be, if he can hang in there for another 23 minutes, it'll be their third podium of the year. Consistency, that's the story with these guys.
Yeah, they've been awfully strong this year, and the team is really starting to gel under the new leadership there. Ian Watt engineering the cars. Elton Sawyer as team manager. It really is a good group, and they've got a lot of confidence going right now.
And for this car here, the number 8 Grout Shield Ford-powered Riley for the Florida-based team, you're going to see Colin Brown in that car, the man who holds the record of being the youngest ever winner in Grand Am Rolex Series competition. He'll be actually splitting his time with the 8 and the 2 in the Star Works organization, so it'll be great to have Colin back in the Grand Am Rolex Series in the 6 hours of the Glen.
Yeah, Colin has a Ford personal services contract, which allows him to jump in some of these Ford-powered machines in various racing series around the world. So look forward to seeing him back on board. He can certainly pedal one of these DP cars.
Tough day for the 99 after Alex Gurney was forced out of the Red Dragon, so John Fogarty is back in 5th position. A day that promised so much. It'll yield the top 5, but that's not what the 99 team are used to, that's for sure. Angelelli responds, incidentally, to the challenge from Oz Negri. It's gone from 40 down to 38, back up to 40 seconds. So Angelelli, with 21 minutes to go, just keeping it nicely in his corner.
Very similar strategies. Not that there's a big issue right now with that sort of lead, but Max has 7 more laps on his tires. 7 laps, potentially less fuel on board, but he's got enough to get to the end, so that doesn't matter. And like Mike Schenk said, we just need to yellow and be on his tail and put some pressure on him.
And for Max Angelelli, this is a special weekend because he did some 7 F3 races on the streets of Monaco. He finished on the podium several times. This man here, Jan Magnussen, did 2 Formula One Grand Prix in Monte Carlo. So he was keenly watching things yesterday as well as he leads the way in GT over Lee Keane and Jordan Taylor.
His son Kevin got a big Formula 3 win at my home track in Norfolk, England, Snetterton, a couple of weeks ago. So that's a young man who's really going places over in Europe, and is one of the McLaren young drivers. They got him on their books, so he's going to go to big places, I'm sure.
Did your team Norwich incidentally get promoted to the English Premier League?
2 divisions in 2 years, big move.
Hey, speaking of getting elevated and promoted, look at this. The 59 Brumos Porsche is 2nd in class. This would be a huge shot in the arm to the Jacksonville-based team. It's been a frustrating start. They expected so much. And now, finally, Lee Keane and Andrew Davis are going to deliver. I've got the 88 car there, though. Jordan Taylor's not done with yet. Hey, a quick reminder about the Continental Tire Dream Giveaway. You've got to get part of this. All you've got to do is go to wintheporsches.com/free ticket to register for the Continental Tire Dream Giveaway. You go online. This week's code word is Hurley, as in Hurley Haywood, and you could win those beautiful Porsches. They were on display earlier this year. I think they were at the Homestead round. For those of you who were there, it's a wonderful competition. Get amongst it. As we wind down the clock here, round 5 of the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series, the Memorial Day Classic here at Lime Rock, and the SunTrust Dallara is well and truly in command with Max Angelelli behind the wheel. He's doing it easily, and Ricky Taylor. And it's appropriate that a year ago, these guys won. In fact, was their last victory in Grand Am Series competition.
I think to put it in perspective, we keep talking about the Ganassi domination over the last 18 months or so. Since we walked away from here last year, Gainsco team and the SunTrust team, 2 of the most dominant, championship winning teams in this era of racing, have only had 1 victory. And that really puts it in perspective, I think. That was at New Jersey last year for the Gainsco squad.
It was a super start from 21-year-old Ricky Taylor, who blew them away and had in excess of a 30-second lead. Chris, that was pretty dynamic stuff.
Yeah, and Ricky's casually sitting behind the war wagon down here, a lot more casual than his father, who's up top. Ricky, just listening to Max Angelelli on the radio asking how much time is left. We've seen Max have trouble with heat exhaustion late in races, and right now we saw problems with the 90 and also the 90 car. Any concerns about Max in the late going?
No, we've been talking to Max, telling him to save his tires, save a little bit of fuel. We're good on fuel now, and Max, we asked him how he's doing. He says, my body is perfect. So I think he's good.
I know you're not the biggest Scott Pruitt fan. Does it feel pretty good that you guys are going to get the win today, or would you rather go toe-to-toe with those guys?
I mean, any day you beat them is a good day. But they definitely took themselves out today, I think, over-aggressive move there by Rojas. So, I mean, we're right here to pounce every time.
Well, these guys are going to pounce. They've obviously got something figured out with Lime Rock. If they get the win here, They'll go 2 years in a row.
He actually sounded like Max. My body is perfect.
Well, he and Ricky have really gelled. I mean, Angelelli really serves the position more like an uncle to the Taylor boys, and they've really gelled as a partnership inside that car. For many years, Angelelli had a rotating door on that car, rotating seat for co-drivers. He never had any consistency. This is the second year of being together with Ricky, and I think we're starting to see the results of that.
Yeah, I think Max was not the easiest teammate to have, being perfectly blunt about it. And I think when Wayne made that decision, there were some raised eyebrows about, is Ricky ready? He's your son. Do you want to put him in the SunTrust car? And I said to Wayne at the time, I said, if there's one guy that Max is going to put his arm around, it's going to be Ricky Taylor, and he's certainly done that over the last 18 months.
There's another Taylor boy there. There's Jordan doing the chasing for second in the GT class. He's keeping a watchful eye on that rearview mirror because here comes Dane Cameron. There's that silver Mazda in the background. So he's trying to steal that final step on the podium away from the 88 Autohaus Camaro.
Good stint for Jordan, though. He's been in the car an awfully long time, 2 full stints essentially, so he's going to be pretty exhausted. There's a long day around this racetrack, and podium would be a great run.
Here is Dane Cameron. We mentioned earlier in the broadcast he's never raced here before, never even been to Lime Rock. So it's a good effort for he and James Guo, who made a very nice start to this race. They've been running in the top 5 for the majority of this event, and we've got less than 14 minutes to go. It's a Camaro leading a Porsche, another Camaro, a Mazda, and a Chevy Corvette. And then we pick up Turner Motorsports BMW with Joey Hand behind the wheel, who's just outside the top 5. So 3 drivers cycling through there today. Bill Auberlen, Paul Dall'Anna, and Joey Hand, and we'll see those same 3 at the 6 Hours of the Glen next weekend.
Yeah, Joey jumped in. We're undetermined in terms of the strategy there with Bill Auberlen qualifying the car just to get a bit more seat time, try and sort it out. Paul Dall'Anna did the middle stint, and Bill got back in, but it was going to be too long for him to finish out, so Joey's jumped in. He was here really just in case if he was needed here today. It wasn't a definite that he was going to drive, but he's part of the 6-hour run at the Glen, so it'll be good for him to get some seat time. And boy, what a year he's had, winning the 24 Hours of Daytona, 12 Hours of Sebring. He'd love to add the 6 Hours of the Glen to that list before he heads to Le Mans.
Lee Keen with a big moment there in the downhill, big power slide off that corner. The 6 Hours of Glen is actually this weekend, being that it's Monday.
Yeah, there you go.
How about that?
Hey, while we're in that last break, folks, Darren Law came in from 3rd position for his final stop, which has hurt the 5 considerably because Ryan Dial in the 8 Starworks car has been elevated onto the podium. So it's Angelelli, Oz Negri, and Ryan Dial. Talk more about the 8, Brian, if you would.
Now, Ryan Dial took over a little while ago. They took a full load of fuel. We talked about how fast he is in the car. Remember, they finished 3rd at Barber, but Bill Riley, who calls the shots from the box there at Starworks, just 2 laps ago got on the radio and said, Ryan, I need you to start saving fuel. So it may be another one of those thrillers on Memorial Day weekend when it comes to fuel mileage and making it to the checkered flag.
Yeah, well, I think that was the case with the 5 car. They needed a splash. We're too close to make it. Let's see what the 8 can do.
We need to leave Lime Rock momentarily. We'll come back. We'll see what Oz Negri can do. He's 36 seconds behind Angelelli for the win of the race. Let's go all the way to the checkered flag in the Memorial Day Classic. And again, a big thanks, a huge thanks on this special day to those in the armed forces for what they have done, for what you continue to do. And that's what today is all about. For Max Angelelli and for Ricky Taylor, it's all about victory lane one more time. 39 seconds is the advantage that they have over Mike Shanks, Oz Negri, and John Pugh. And Ryan Dial sitting there, he and Mike Forrest are poised for a podium if they can hang on for another 9 minutes. Fogarty is in 4th. 5th is Darren Law. Barbosa is 6th, and Scott Pruitt is in 7th. And one of the key points, one of the Continental keys to the race was damage control. Even though the 01 Ganassi car was bounced out when Rojas made a move he wish he didn't, 7th place is not that bad in the big scheme of things. They'll still take home plenty of points.
I don't even want to say this, but with this much left in the race, I think there's a big piece of debris laying out there legitimately, and we'll see it here in a minute, on the left-hander, and I don't know where it came from, but we'll see as they come off this left-hand corner off to the right. I thought I saw something very large right there laying on the racetrack. Now, would they put a caution on for it or not?
And certainly shake things up a little bit because Angelelli has a healthy lead. He just got to bring it home for these last 8.5 minutes. Negri's pushing hard, but he knows that danger there. And there you see it. That's a brake hose, Dorsey.
Yeah, I thought it was actually something bigger than that. That's not that big a deal. That brake hose is made out of some
on
sort
the
of...
outside of some cornerbacks going up the hill.
I saw that last lap and I went, oh no.
A bit of the ducting they use to channel the air from the front body work.
It's not a hard piece, so it's made out of some sort of a paper-like material, so I don't really see that as a problem.
And you'll see Oz Negri there with the Grout Shield forward right behind him, Ryan Dial. That won't be a move for position. Dial's on a different lap to Oz Negri, so Oz is safely in second at the moment. Here's our GT leader, Jan Magnussen. He and Robin Liddell, this will be a day to remember for sure. It's been a year to forget thus far, but this will be a day to remember for those boys. Lee Keen still comfortably in second place. However, Jordan Taylor is intensifying the pressure in that 88 Auto House Camaro. He wants a first second. There it is, just a couple of car length difference. And then Dane Cameron, who looked like he had a handful the last time we saw him on camera, wrestling that Mazda in fourth place. He's got a pretty healthy gap over Eric Curran for fifth. So positions should stay as is in GT, which, Dorsey, to your point at the top of the show, it'll shake up the points in GT incredibly, and this GT championship remains wide open.
Yeah, these guys are going to be in really good shape. They're going to close in on the leaders, Dallalana and Orblin, certainly if they maintain this podium run for Jordan Taylor and Bill Lester. And just looking at the scenario here, he's got a lot of laps on the board there, Jordan Taylor, some 16 laps more than Lee Keen. So this is a great run for him to be staying as close, putting the pressure on well-worn rubber.
And of course, here comes Osvaldo Negri in second place overall, working his way through that battle for GT for second place.
Guys, before we run out of time and before this race is over, I want to take a moment to acknowledge one of our team members, Brian Till, who really had a wonderful weekend this weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where part of the centennial celebrations was acknowledging everybody who has competed in the Indy 500 and all the living drivers, former drivers who have competed there were invited with their families to be part of a special ceremony. Brian, I know you were there with Leslie and the kids, and mate, we're all very proud of you. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did, Lee. I ran some iRacing laps, and and that scared me, which reminds me of why I don't do that anymore. But yeah, it was a truly special weekend, and I'm very glad I went. I think it was special for the fans. I think it was special for all the past drivers who have run there, and it was a great weekend. But Memorial Day, that's what it's for. It's for these great races. But Lee, you pointed out a minute ago, it's for all the servicemen and women that give us the opportunity to do this. So yeah, it was a great way to spend that 100th anniversary, and Memorial Day is always a great day at the Brickyard.
It's good for Connor and Sam to see that their dad was pretty good once.
There you go.
Once, a long time ago.
Fly told me one of the fans came up and had a picture of him in the car, and his son said, "Is that you?" And what does he want your autograph for?
Let's get back to business here, business at hand, and it's going to be back-to-back wins.
This is for second. Jordan Taylor really putting the pressure onLee Keen down into turn one.
If he can stick it in here.
He's a clean driver, but he just uses up the road there. Perfect move. No contact. He's through for second.
Nice job.
What a day for the Taylor boys. Back-to-back wins. There's the applause from Bob Curl and the team, and back-to-back wins for his big brother if he can hang on in there here at Lime Rock, and it'll be a first-second result
Great job.
for the Auto House Camaro.
Marcus Hasselgrove kind of runs this operation. I spoke to him earlier in the off-season and about Jordan Taylor and what's he like. He said, he is unbelievable. I said, who would you compare him to? He said, McNish. McNish, he's one of the best sports car drivers ever and still is. And he said, he reminds me of him. He's so consistent. He's able to drive well within himself, yet put the lap times in, tell you what the car's doing, make the right changes. He is the perfect sports car driver.
He has not only made the move, and that gets our wall move of the race. He's not only made the move, he has just leapt away from Lee Keen in dramatic fashion. He's a little too far to get the win away from Jan Magnussen, however. They've got our wall move of the race. Well done. He and Bill Lester won at VIR 2 weeks ago in very tricky and challenging conditions. It's been a solid dry race with just one caution period here at Lime Rock today. And this 20-year-old, after getting his first win 2 weeks ago, will be standing on the podium again in less than 4 minutes' time.
Did a great job of keeping that car under control. He had to pinch it down in the corner. Remember now, he's on a really old set of tires, and so you know the grip level of the car is not good. He did a great job.
Negri's got that margin down to less than 30 seconds on Max Angelelli, but this man here, Max the Axe as we call him, is cruising. No problem. There's Wayne Taylor with the Elton John sunglasses on the right. And the boys, Simon Hodgson up the far end, Travis Hogue and Brian Pillar, and all of the guys there who do a wonderful job. The Indianapolis-based team, it's been their day today.
They're more like Lady Gaga then.
Give yourself room. There's only 4 laps to go.
Simon Hodgson going to talk Max through this. We saw it yesterday. Mistakes going to be made right up to the final corner of the final lap. And, you know, it's been a relaxing run, but sometimes it's easier to lose your focus that way, Dorsey, than when you're in the heat of a battle.
Especially a track like this, which is so technical. I mean, there's no way to go off. You could lose just for a minute. A little bit of concentration put you off the racetrack and into a crash situation. We certainly saw it yesterday in 2 of the biggest races in the world.
3 different engine manufacturers in the top 3 positions in Daytona prototype. It'll be a Chevy that goes to victory lane. This is the Ford-powered Crown Royal XR Riley for Mike Shank. And then you've got the Ford as well. My mistake there, 2 Fords in the top 3. So, minutes winding down. And I was just thinking about Simon Hodgson there, just talking Max Angelelli through on the radio. If there's anyone that can do it, Simon Hodgson's the man. He knows how to take the fight to Ganassi because he used to work for Ganassi. He knows the inner workings of that team. And this Dallara has been in the prime position all day. Ricky Taylor getting his 3rd career pole, doing a tremendous job, and then leapt away at the start to put the team, as you mentioned a long time ago now, Cal, really in a prime position for victory.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge day for those guys. They really need to turn the momentum around. They need to get some wins on the board, and even though there's a long way to go to catch Pruitt and Rojas in the points championship, they need to start winning, and that's what it's all about. That's what Wayne Taylor wants. That's what he demands from his guys. And it looks like they might go for 2 in a row here at Lime Rock Park.
Minute and a half to go. The laps and time winding down.
Inside, looking inside. He's inside. Good job, Max, good job.
Just letting Scott Pruitt go through. We wish that was for position. We wish it was for a fight for the lead. However, we've told you multiple times the story with the 01. The error from Memo Rojas that damaged the 01 Telmex BMW heavily took them out of the run for a top spot. They lost 8 laps. And the momentum swung back the way of the 10 and the other guys running at the front end of the field. Chris, what do you have?
Well, the problems with Alex Gurney and Antonio Garcia with the heat. You know, I really wanted to pay attention to Max Angelelli because we've seen problems in the past with him dealing with the heat. And about the last 15 minutes, Max has been really quiet on the radio. Simon Hodgson just asked him, Max, you doing okay out there? And he said, you know what? I'm doing great, but, you know, I'm kind of concerned about Wayne. Is Wayne doing okay?
That's good.
It's been a while.
Good sense of humor there.
If you'd put a bet on that SunTrust wouldn't win for a year, no one would take it.
No.
I mean, that's really how competitive the Ganassi organization have been in terms of dominating the last season and a half of racing. Here he lets through some fast DP cars, but this is not for position. He just needs to bring it home this final lap.
It's nice to see these geese flew in from Canada to watch the Memorial Day event with us. Been there all day. Stay out of trouble. That's the right thing to say. Just bring it back home.
Max the X is on his way home. He and his 21-year-old co-driver, Ricky Taylor. As they come down through the final turn, what a day it has been for Wayne Taylor's SunTrust organization. Checkered flag at the ready. Max the X and Ricky Taylor have done it in Lime Rock 12 months ago. They went to victory lane. They repeat that effort. And Stevenson Motorsports back in the limelight as well in GT. Superb win for Jan Magnussen and Robin Liddell. There's the boys on the wall.
Got the monkey off their back, and boy, it was time. Good job here, too.
Great job for Mike Shank Racing. Oz Negri and John Pugh, they bring it home. Best Pro-Am combination. First to the Fords home. Sensational stuff. So Dallara goes to victory lane for the first time in a year. Wayne Taylor's team the same. And this will shuffle the points a little bit. Ganassi will still be on top. But it's a change. And for the second consecutive race meeting, a different winner.
That bodes well. I mean, the Coyotes running so strong. Dorsey, SunTrust suddenly get back in victory lane. We saw Action Express performing and winning last time out. So even though everyone may think, well, it's going to be dominated by Ganassi, that points lead has been eaten to a little bit. we've got many cars that are capable of winning right now.
And we're going into a tough round, a 6-hour race up right behind this. So you can never count anything as a sure deal when you go into endurance mode.
Jordan Taylor came across the line for second in GT behind this, so it was a Camaro 1-2 in GT, and Lee Keane getting that first podium for the Brumos Porsche. Here is Joey Hand bringing the Turner Motorsport BMW M3 home, and look at that, he is incredibly fit, and this has been a torture test for these guys. Darren Law inside the cockpit of the 5. He picked up 5th place with that late pit stop, which really hurt them. And it'll be celebrations down at Starworks as well, because a podium there for Ryan Dial and Mike Forrest. Great job. We spoke about the points. How much did they get shuffled up? Not a whole lot. not between the top 2 combinations anyway. The Ganassi boys had a 22-point margin. It's now only 21, courtesy of where the 9 finished in comparison to where the 01 finished. However, it's getting closer further back.
Yeah, it really is. As tightened up right behind there. And look at this. Bill Lester, Jordan Taylor now just 8 points out of the lead in the GT standings. Dane Cameron, James Guay looking strong in 3rd spot with another good run here today in 4th position.
And again, just look how tight it is there. 15 points the margin going back for those first 5 or 6 combinations. It's thrilling stuff. We're not done with yet here at Lime Rock. Stick around. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is presented on Speed by Rolex, a crown for every achievement. Brought to you in part by the Capital One Venture Card, what's in your wallet? And by Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. And there was confidence, confidence, confidence all the way with the SunTrust Dallara team. It's time to celebrate. Chris Neville's there.
Well, the SunTrust car was just dominant all day long, and Max, in the past, we've seen you sometimes struggle on hot days. We saw it with Alex Gurney today. We saw it with Antonio Garcia. But I think that's just a testament to how good this car was.
Yes, the car, the team SunTrust Racing and with Toshiba and Chevy, Team Chevy, unbelievable. That was easy, good for me. You see, I'm relaxed, I'm fresh because the car was really good.
And your teammate here, Ricky, you guys obviously figured this place out. You won here last year. It looked easy today. What is it about this team and Lime Rock Park?
It was easy today. Max was awesome. I think the engineers just hit the nail right on the head today with the setup. Just awesome. So happy for SunTrust on Memorial Day, thinking about our troops here. Fantastic.
Well, good job, guys. Great job.
Down at Stevenson Motorsports, Jan Magnus and Robin Liddell celebrating this victory. Jan, you brought it to the checkered flag. That final stint out there, the heat of the day, how difficult was it? How good was this Camaro?
Well, the car was fantastic today. I think it's the best car we've had all year. We've been in this position many times already this year, but we just haven't put it together to win. So to do it today, I'm super happy for the team, especially for Robin. We're back in it. He's had a shit week, to say the least. But everything went well. The heat in the car was okay. It wasn't a big issue, but then again, we were leading. There's a big difference being hot and leading and being hot and in the back.
And Robin, for you, we talked earlier about getting to this point of the season and not even having a podium finish. Does this make VIR seem like a long time ago and all the struggles that you had with the rain at Virginia International Raceway?
Well, it does. Like Jan said, we've had some difficult races, and I just want to thank the guys for persevering throughout that. Everybody's kept working, kept their heads down, and thanks to the Stevensons for continuing to commit to that, and to Chevrolet. But most of all, I just want to dedicate this to my dad, who passed away 3 weeks ago today, and it's been very emotional for me to get this result just in his memory.
Congratulations, Robin. Chris?
Well, Oswaldo Negri and John Pugh celebrating down here. It's been a tough year for you guys. Yeah, this is the first top 5, second place. That's a great finish. But Oz, the car was fast, but you just couldn't close that gap.
I tell you what, I kept telling Mike, I said, Mike, the day will come, we didn't show our potential, but today John did a pro job. And my team gave me the best car, on the track. I definitely have, to have my hat off to John, Mike Schenk Racing Team. That was a car to win the race.
And John, you had your best qualifying session ever. Great run up front. The team struggled a bit this year. Is it good to kind of finally turn the corner before we get into June?
Oh, it's fantastic. And it's great having a car that was great right out of the trailer. Right as soon as we launched it, it was a great car. And Oz has been a fantastic help this year.
And Mike Shank back here already texting all of his fans, probably sending a tweet out. Mike, great way to get some momentum going before we go into the 6 hour.
So happy for John and Oz. The crew had a great 2 pit stops, were fantastic. Car was really good today. And with one yellow, I told you, Chris, 1 yellow is all we needed. And we'd have had a phenomenal finish today with the 10 car. You know, we're the only 2 cars on the lead lap. And I'm just so tickled, mostly for John Pugh today, though. 5 years he's run for me. This is by far the best he's ever driven.
Well, we're back on the track next Saturday at Watkins Glen.
26 seconds in the end was the winning margin, so a yellow would have brought them together and it would have been on. What a day. I mean, in the end, there was no immediate challenges for the win in either category. However, it was an interesting day, and a day that started out with a massive thunderstorm. We didn't expect we'd have beautiful weather like this.
You know, it's funny how it kind of parallels last year, that this race was kind of pivotal. All of a sudden, the Ganassi guys have got 2 stumbles in a row, and things are getting really tight. In GT, things couldn't get any tighter. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. Everything's coming together.
Yeah, I mean, the Ganassi boys still have a healthy lead, but there's a lot more people snapping at those heels, and guys are starting to find their form again. They're starting to get their strut back. The Coyote car, the Spirit of Daytona team are looking very strong. You just got to tick a few more boxes to get that first win. SunTrust look like they've got some speed. It's all on for the rest of this championship.
It was the first victory for Wayne Taylor's SunTrust boys in a year. It was the first victory for the Stevenson Group since the season finale last year at Miller Motorsports Park. Speaking of Miller Motorsports Park, stay with Speed, because coming up right now is the US round of the World Superbike Championship. On behalf of your Speed Sports Car team, so pleased you could be with us on this Memorial Day weekend for the Memorial Day Classic. Well done to our winners. We'll see you at the Glen in less than a week.